Up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. They know that we're calling it wrong. Hey, it's too late to try to go contain it. A generation fueled by creation. We live lives on a small screen nation. We control the airwaves, no negotiation. I refuse to think we need saving. Something good will come from creation. And when we think that the world is too anxious, we'll adapt to fall, survive and save it. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. What keeps you up at night, yeah. Make all the demons quiet, yeah. We were built to thrive, yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Yeah, I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong. You got me like, oh yeah. I think that we've all had enough. Sick of dealing with the old plan. They know that we're calling it wrong.
Nobody is coming to save you. Get up. Be your own hero.
All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, coming to you from high above your imagination in the International Fake Station. Hope everybody's having a wonderful day so far. My, what an interesting day we've had already today. Had to get up and we had a friend from South Africa visit the show, and we discussed some of the things regarding the globe Earth. Didn't get much past the sunsets, but you can go back and check all that out. I did notice that there's, again, as I study into it and I look at people's reactions, I have to say the indoctrination is deep. It really is quite deep. I don't know how it is that people cannot get over this concept. This thing has been beat into their heads so badly that they can't understand how simple perspective comes into play with something like this. And it does come in. I mean, it's everything. And, you know, I think that's one of the biggest stumbling points that we have with a lot of these people. Let me take a look and see who all we've got in here tonight. I just kind of like ad-libbing going along. I put the link up in the description. There was somebody else had come on to the into the comments and said that they would like to know how can they come on. I told them, I says, well, it's open every night, so feel absolutely free to come on in, you know. So let's see who I've got here so far. I'm seeing Bill Well is here. Got Chicago Cubby Bear, Stacy Jones, Barry Ross is with us. Let's see, Day Trooper GW, Sean Alkey's with us. Trip Canada, no longer on the ball. Good to see you. Let's see who else. Unindoctrinated Jake is with us. Stacy Jones, got Lock Smart with us. Let's see, David Young. That's relatively new, I think. Let's see, but welcome. One more quarters here. Yeah, one more quarter, right? Be your own hero. Absolutely, man. We got Tiffany Vinci. I see Jehovah's lovely daughter Barbara with us too. ZXL Master. There were a few people here, you know, today. I was kind of dismayed. I mean, I wanted people to maybe show a little bit more respect to the guest that was on today, but you know, chat's like the fucking Mad Max world out there. You know, I can't be responsible for the people in the chat, man. All I can say is, you know, let's be the better people and not be them. You know what I'm saying? Let's just be the better people and not be them. As you can see, if you can just point out the logic. I mean, I thought it was really interesting because when I'd say, no, look, things go into the, no, they don't. They go totally, it's embedded in the head. But hopefully Sal is going to realize that a lot of this was placed into her head and it wasn't her idea. And I think that was already coming to head because of the just blatant, I must reject this whole thought. Once this seed germinates a little bit, I think that may actually that might actually have some impact. And if it doesn't, it doesn't change the fact that we're not on a fucking ball. I mean, there's going to be people that are going to keep this delusion. They're going to carry it like a dog with a bone. I see them do it every day. They want to gravitate right down. It's so funny because sometimes you get these people that they just start getting into the, well, what ifs? What if it's this? And it could be that. And wait a minute. Now we're off into worse of a fantasy land. Way worse of a fantasy land. That's just how things go with this. I mean, I don't know. So, and also on another note here, the other night we had a very colorful exchange with Brenda. And this is something that gets me. This is, again, with the system. All in with the system. And I'm going to work the system in order to try and silence you. These are dangerous, cowardice people that will go to drastic measures to achieve their aims. Okay. So the person is already deluded to begin with. Okay. And then comes out with the, you know, anything the establishment has as far as the status quo. They're all in. They're all in. I mean, perhaps we were talking to an actual Facebook fact checker. I'm seeing the same type of thing. But what I do see is that within the establishment, within the media, and within these people that are flat earth haters, I'm not going to say globe proponents. I'm going to say flat earth haters because they're downright filthy fucking mean. Right? So I'm going to say, you know, I have to say that they also protest much too loudly in the arena of what was suggested. And that's all I'm going to leave it at right there. What you ask me, do I believe that there's human trafficking occurring amongst the elite and in Washington, D.C.? Absolutely. What I just fell off a goddamn turnip truck? Are you shitting me? And this coming from somebody who's never been to fucking DC. Okay, I've been to DC a bunch of times. Okay, longest trip you took was to the West Coast from Minnesota. You would be surprised if I could drop you off in Washington DC on a Friday evening, and you would be begging me to come fucking get you. I will guarantee you, man, it's not a place to be at all. The criminals there aren't only in the marble palaces. They're all over the fucking streets as well. The place is a goddamn cesspool. And say, oh, you mean that in our nation's capital? Are you kidding me, man? There's homeless people living in the park right across the street from the fucking White House, man. Of course. Oh, we got Burn the Corporate Fiction showed up here too. We got Day Trooper, Paycow McIver. Yeah. Barbara the Nail Pusher. Sea Lightning 300 miles. Wow, really? Did you? That's awesome. I remember coming through Oklahoma, and this was right before all those devastating tornadoes hit a couple years back. And I remember looking up ahead of me, and you could see this, the whole freaking horizon, man, nothing blocking anything. And just this darkness ahead with flashes of lightning coming down, just flashes all over the place. And of course, the span that I was looking at was probably, a couple 100 miles probably, because it was like, whoa. And you're seeing all of these lightning strikes and shit like that. I made it through it before anything had hit. And then after I had gotten through was when all those tornadoes came and tore everything up. I didn't even know about it until later that evening when I heard about it on the news. It was, I was like, oh shit, man, I just barely missed that. There's a couple times I barely missed Paradise fires too. Like by an hour. I had just been through Paradise like an hour before that place went up into nothing. Let's see, is anyone else buffering? Hey, that's a good question. I don't see it buffering on my YouTube side. I don't see anything buffering. Okay, I think we're good. It might just be you, my friend. Try and refresh your page. That usually takes care. And I said, see lightning bolts at 300 miles. I recorded lightning bolts with my phone camera. That's cool as shit. I love the lightning fascinates the hell out of me, man. It really does. It's just like, whoa. And then the thunder. What's that echoing off of? What is the thunder echoing off of? That's an interesting thing to contemplate, isn't it? So the sweet dreams are made of these. Who am I to disagree? Well, I'm Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, and I disagree because those aren't sweet dreams. Those are delusions. Globe, space, wanting all this wild shit to come true. I think a lot of people have immersed themselves into science fiction movies and think that, a trip to Mars and a big adventure, some shit like that, it's going to be about like an hour and a half movie. No, man. No. I mean, you got to think about this. You get there. What are you going to do if you do get there? If you could, right? What are you going to do? Sit around, play pinochle, maybe some video games, have some, I don't know, reruns of movies and shit. That's going to get old really fucking quick. Go outside and shuffle around, worried about that if you get a tear in your suit or your hose leaks or something, you're just going to die. It's dreams. It's from Disney, man. It's from fucking Disney. It's from your mobile that hung over top of your crib, man. And this is where you're really thinking that, oh, this is some fantastic shit. It's all just spells put into your head by these wizards, man. And in reality, the real world is just even more spectacular than the nonsense they try to push forth with this helio-nonsensical sun worship bullshit that we've been dealing with for the last, really dealt with for the last 100 years. Because that's when the big push really started with this shit. And people don't understand fundamental little principles. Give me just a second. I had an ashtray here and I set it down somewhere. Hang on one second. Here it is. Sorry about that. I had it laying down back there. I had it over on the counter with my 0G drinking glass. Never mind. But we've brought up several examples of how these dreams and how the psychology behind the shit actually works. Yes, the Jesuits and their heliosexuality, Ryan. Exactly. We've known the earth is a globe for thousands of years because there's a couple of these Greek guys that I read about sitting around in a bathhouse talking about balls. And so therefore, I'm going to assume that the entire consensus of the people of Greece and everywhere else in the world at that period of time was that the earth was a globe. Shut up. Those people were thought to be quite mad. In fact, I think wasn't Pythagoras ran out of Egypt, and that's why he ended up in Greece because of his nonsense. I think that's something along those lines. That's and they weren't scientists; they were philosophers, for crying out loud. Mathematicians, maybe, but definitely not scientists. Eratosthenes and his faithful assistant Feces measuring sticks and shadows over a distance of 500 miles. How the fuck did they communicate with anybody? When they have one of those old Nokia brick phones? What? Well, no satellites, so no cell phones. Oh, right. People think. The shit. We did a show the other night on how the Jesuit connection, and the big push for this started about around the Reformation. Okay, about 500 years ago. Why? Because the church wanted to be the authority and not the Bible, so they had to discredit the Bible. That's how it started. But we see how the Jesuit oath indicates that these people are going to infiltrate all the sciences. They're going to infiltrate the universities. They're going to, they they don't know any limits to their methods. You see that, they're willing to smash babies. They're willing to pull people's guts out and burn them and flay them and eat them or whatever. They're going to do some kind of always horrific shit, So yeah, of course they're going to be devious in their methods. And who else is devious in their methods? The Shaitan. That's correct. Yes, the master deceiver. And so why not name your biggest space agency Deceit? Why not go ahead and call it that, but do it in a way that the sheep won't understand? We'll call it NASA. Say it's an acronym for something. Yeah, that's it. These idiots will never get it. See, they made you stupid, then exploit the fact. But you're not stupid. You're just ignorant. You're just ignorant. And it's not your fault, man. You weren't exposed. Now you're being exposed. So now if you're not able to take the information and weigh it out, now you're willfully ignorant. You have to go right back to that bullshit that they tried to run past you. There's Joe from Albuquerque. Took a wrong turn there once. Took a T, NASA, Satan. Yeah, man. T-1, T-10. Yeah. They're always saying that shit. Listen to how many times they say imagination. Listen to how many times they say the word imagination. Oh, it's more than I could have ever imagined. It's beyond your imagination. Blah, 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 blah. It's all about imagination and dreams and shit. And this is what brings me to the point of this. It's because it is a dream. Row, row, row your boat gently down the stream. Merrily, merrily. Life is but a what? That's right. But it's your dream. Control it. Don't let somebody else control your fucking dream. You can do that in your dreams. In your dreams, you can take charge. As soon as you know that you're dreaming, you can control it. Good way to do that is look at your hands. You can never recreate your hands correctly. Lucid dreaming, that's crazy shit, man. But once you realize that you have control in there, you also have control out here. Within limits, of course, there's rules. There are rules. They have to be followed. And there's a guy that comes on here all the time, Cage. He's always liking to talk about that this is a simulation and blah, blah, blah. Yeah, okay. I can think along those lines. That's cool. But you still have rules within the simulation. Things that everything has to adhere to in order for the simulation to work. Otherwise, it's just chaos. So that's a way of maintaining order. And so when it comes to that, we have things within whether it's a projected reality or not, we still have physical laws that must be obeyed, limits within the simulation. Okay. So if we just go making up shit about how it's working rather than study how it actually works, well, we're never going to progress anywhere. It's all well and good that you can predict how fast something's going to fall or how hard something's going to hit the ground. It's quite another thing to understand why. And to just blow it off onto something where it's just, well, we can't test because it's too big. So we're just going to go on with this assumption. And somebody comes along and says, hey, wait a minute. Let's look at this a little differently. Right? No. We've invested too much bullshit into this, because now if we don't stick with the gravity thing, and there goes our fucking Newtonian orbits, and no, we would rather you shut up so that we can continue to blow our horns. They don't want you telling them that they're out of tune. If you could take those great thinkers, people who are potentially great thinkers, and instead of indoctrinating them and ruining their minds and their ability to critically think, you should nurture that ability to critically think. Don't just tell people shit. Make them answer their own question. Why do you suppose this is going on? Let's check it out. Let's investigate it. And you can do this with anybody. What do you think this is happening? Okay, that's interesting. Why do you think this is happening? Hey, that's pretty good. Well, let's put this shit to the test and see what happens. That's teaching. That's teaching. Not just standing up in front of a blackboard and yammering out a bunch of shit and somebody just remembering it. That's not knowledge. The parrots do that. And parrots don't invent things at all. They don't really have a lot of achievements other than being very colorful and cool creatures, and they can mimic human speech and other sounds as well. There's other birds that can do that too. I notice they're not on the rolls of Mensa, right? So this brings us to another part of the dream, where we believe that because of a certain piece of paper issued by a wizard from a certain institution, that this is a measure of someone's intellect. No, it's not. It is not. Okay. I know that the people that hold these things would like to think so, as did the Scarecrow when he was handed the diploma by the wizard. And he said, wow, look at there. All of a sudden I'm smart. What changed? His perception. That's all. And so you've been given a perception of yourself that's false. And along with that comes pride. And it's a hard thing for sometimes people to swallow pride and to go, oh my God, a lot of this shit that I learned, that I paid to learn to get this piece of paper, is bahooey, man. I'm down the wrong hole. No pun intended. So this is what we have to be on guard for, is our limits by our perception that are altering this dream into somebody else's dream, and most assuredly a nightmare. My friend Dave in Texas, he sent me a thing, and it's about, oh my God, about the invasion things that are going on down in Texas and all this other. And he says, what do you think about that? And I looked and the video, and he said, read the comments. And I was reading the comments, and he says, what do you think about that? And I said, yep. It's going just as planned, and people are reacting exactly the way that they wanted them to. Yep. And he's like, yeah, dead nuts on. Because everybody's like, yeah, screw the National Guard, or screw the UN and this, that, and the other. People need to pick up their own arms. People need this, that, and the other. And I'm like, yep. Falling right into place. Exactly what they want. Exactly what they want. If they didn't, they wouldn't be putting it out to you. They wouldn't be orchestrating your emotions through the information that they disseminate to you. Information, propaganda. That's what you got to work out for. It's just like in the last 3 years, we were shown that there was a lot of stuff happening on the television that people went out into reality and found out were not happening. The only place that was happening was on their television sets. And people were in fear because of what they saw on their television set. And other people that went out, and this is how powerful it is, other people that went, hey, look, no, they're fucking lying to you, man. Look, here's a video of that same place that was full of people the same day that I just took, and there was nobody there. Oh, you're a conspiracy nut. This is happening. It's almost like we want this to be happening. It's like, no, man. They're fucking with you, man. They're digging with your mind, man. No, they're not. Ah, I know my sister had it, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, oh my god. But that's the power of propaganda. That's the power of TV. A lot of people don't know it. Most of you do, but the television was designed and patented as a propaganda tool, a brainwashing tool. Do you know what the first television broadcast was? Hitler's Nuremberg speech. And the thing was, it was like, look, not everybody can make it to Nuremberg. Many would like to, but they can't attend the rally. But now with this, people in Frankfurt and Darmstadt and Bremen can all participate in the Nuremberg rally from their home. How fantastic is that? We can make Germany great again through the power of this new device. And then, of course, Heinrich Himmler jumped right on it. He's quoted as saying, think of the media as a great keyboard on which the government can play. Because that's exactly what they do. They fill you full of their hopes and dreams. We can look at this with the NASA. Here we are, 2024. This is our big achievement right here behind me, right here. 2024. Supposedly went to the moon in 1969. And this is it. Low Earth orbit. Can't get past the Van Halen radiation belt. Get up there stuck in an eddy riff. And it just blows your ears out. That's why they can't go past it. Because it goes up to 11. Lucky. It goes up to 11. Spinal Tap reference. My bad. So they kicked the can down the road. And they're like, we're going to show you. Do you know it was 12 years ago that Elon Musk said, I'll put a man on the moon in 10 years from now. Watch. That was 12 years ago. That was 12 years ago. Nobody up there. Haven't sent nobody. Still working on not having unscheduled sudden disassemblies. We see that happening. And you're not really going to get there with a CGI rocket. Okay? It's just how it rolls. Okay? So now they've kicked the can down the road at least 2 years. Said that they're having some difficulties and some other shit that they're going to have to work out. And then they added a little bit of a boner on top of it and said that it's going to be a while. We're having trouble with the orbital mechanics of it all because the moon is actually shrinking. Which, of course, would throw off all the orbital mechanics of everything else as well. So why do people believe this crap? Because they see somebody floating around up in this thing? That's why they believe it? Because they got some crappy video of a guy bouncing around in a silly little suit that wouldn't even work in the environment that he's in? But they'll believe it. They'll believe it. Everybody loves a puppet show. In fact, them half the time, they're on strings just like a puppet. They're on strings most of the time, just like a little puppet. And there they are, Satan's little puppets. Look at us. We're up in space. We're definitely not laundering $70 billion a day. Nope. Definitely not funneling it into top secret projects that are designed to oppress you. No. We're doing this so we can do somersaults in space. That's right. Somersaults and chase each other around in gorilla outfits. And what have they accomplished up there? How has this thing benefited mankind? How can you justify the expense other than hopeful childlike minds going, oh, they're in space doing somersaults. Come on, man. Is the human race really that mentally stunted? Are they really that intellectually immature that that's where their minds are at? They're still in a fucking cartoon. I mean, it just blows my mind. You know, when you come to the fundamentals of this entire story and you realize how preposterous the entire thing really is, especially considering where it came from, and then to be treated as though it's science. That's crazy. All they've done is take a religion and call it science. It's all they've done. And yeah, fluoride. Daniel Watkins says fluoride is a powerful thing, I guess. Yeah, apparently. But then never underestimate the power of propaganda. You know, think about this, man. Elvis Presley, just the right PR, just the right PR, just the right exposure, just the right exposure. And women were fainting, having heart attacks, you know, just losing their fucking minds when the Beatles show up to an airport and shit. What is up with that? Where does that kind of fanaticism come from? These people that jump up and down and freak out when a rocket takes off remind me of I had this dog one time that loved fireworks. I know it was crazy. He loved fireworks. I'd set off bottle rockets and he loved them. And he'd sit there and beg for me to set off a bottle rocket. And as soon as he'd go, he'd jump up in the air and start barking and going crazy and just loving it like that. And I see these people at these NASA launches, and it's, you don't get that excited when you see grandma take off to go back to Florida. I mean, by this point in time, it's not supposed to be a big deal. After all, we were supposed to already have commercial space travel fully in place by now. Fully in place. This is what they had predicted. This was what NASA told us that we were going to do. And don't tell me you ain't got the fucking money, because I always notice you got the fucking money when you want to have a war. Okay? You always got the money when you got to have a war, but you don't have the money for this. I ain't buying that. You know, pretty soon the same excuse starts to get old, stale, stink. No good anymore. Can't run the same game but so many times. Pretty soon Charlie Brown's going to get tired of kicking the football. So we're supposed to have commercial space travel by this point in time right now. We had a television show that was set way in the future, but not far-fetched into the future. Okay, this was in the 70s. And it was called Space 1999. And it took place in the year 1999, and there was already a well-established base on the moon. Regular travel back and forth from the moon to Earth and vice versa. And people were like, yeah, that's like a glimpse into our future. That's going to happen. Because after all, we just went to the moon and did it again and again. So nothing's stopping us now. The sky is no longer the limit. That's what we were told. Here I am. Many shades of lightness later. Most people haven't even been above 35,000 feet if they've flown in an aircraft at all. Yeah, Moonbase Alpha. That's right, Day Trooper. Yes. Well, who was that guy? Martin Landau. I think Martin Landau was in that TV series. Yeah, just some golf and buggy, the golf buggy that they got up. I mean, think about that. The amount of money that they spent on this supposed, let's just suppose that were true. Okay. And we'll just pretend that the battery wasn't designed for the environment that it would be exposed to. In other words, the extremes of temperature were not compatible with the battery for that buggy. But let's just suppose that they actually did go there. They spent a lot of money. They spent a lot of money on this dune buggy that they took up there. And they took it out on the thing and they rode around, did some donuts and some circles and all this other nonsense, right? and then just left it there. There it sits, still up there for all I know, still sitting there. What was the payoff to that investment? What was the payoff to the investment of hitting golf balls on the moon? So you could slow it down and make people think that they were actually up in a fucking on the moon? Wow. And it brings me right back to the same thing I was saying. What are they doing up here? What exactly are they doing up here? I mean, look at any of this equipment around me here. It looks like Radio Shack blew up. It looks like somebody said, we need to make this look technical. So let's take a bunch of radio parts and wires and shit and just spread them around hither and yon, and that'll work. It was probably that little bastard back there. It was probably that little bastard back there. He looks sneakier and shit, so it was probably him in the first place. Buzz holds balls. Moonlander never left the hangar in Nevada. No, the first time they ever tried to test fly that thing, I think it was Neil Armstrong test flew it, and he had to eject off of it after like 10 or 15 seconds of flight, and it was just so unstable and it crashed. And it's like, no, not the safest place to be during doing somersaults or with long, wavy fucking hair, and you're squirting water into it and shit. And oh my God, man, he had to eject big time. That's my handler. He's back there. He's back. But I mean, you really have to have a hopeful mind. And it's like I tried to show Joe Cool with that clip from The Big Bang Theory, right? Now, we all know that nobody sent the guy that played Howard on The Big Bang Theory up into the ISS. We know that. Okay? Because I would hope you got at least a little bit of common sense. I don't know, maybe some people would believe, but how would you know any different? Because we saw him take a ballpoint pen and float it around, right? And he's floating over to this console, and he goes, and here's one of the other astronauts comes by him, and they have a little jab at each other, or whatever. So the only thing different really is the fact that there was a laugh track. This guy's known as a comedic actor, and no NASA logo down in the corner is the only difference. So where does your discernment between what's real and what isn't real come into play? So like I've said, if space can be faked and faked well, how do you know it's not? But we're fortunate enough to see that it's government. They always fuck shit up. Now, whether they're doing it on purpose or it's one of those metaphysical things that they have to let you know. They have to let you know, right? But they've screwed up so many times that people are wise enough to it that see it. And of course, I believe they want us to see it. They want to see who's actually picking this out. We're doing them a favor by critiquing their fakery. They know what to fix. That's fine, because you've already fucked up. You let us see the man behind the curtain. So the logical mind says, if it's real, you would never have to fake it for any reason whatsoever. The only reason that you even hear anything about it is to keep it in your mind. Because they're not really doing anything important. What are they doing? Nothing. Running around in gorilla suits, playing guitar, right? But they're not really up there. This is just a bunch of propaganda bullshit to keep you believing that they are up there. Now, I'm not going to doubt something goes by on a schedule. They tell me it's the ISS. Now, do I believe that it's 250 miles away? Absolutely not. Do I believe it's going the speed that they tell me? Absolutely not. Because as we've discussed before, through scale, I could have the things 4 times, I could make it 4 times smaller, 4 times closer, and 4 times slower. And you would have no idea if I told you it was 4 times everything that it is. So just keep in mind how scale goes. And this is one of the things they realize. Don't let them con you into thinking when you're talking to them that they don't understand scale, because they do. Because isn't that their whole excuse as to why the apparent size of the sun and moon are the same? The moon is 400 times smaller and 400 times closer than the sun, and it just appears that they're the same size. Well, there's a hell of a coincidence. So they understand scale when it suits them. So what you find with a lot of these, and I think we found this with our guest this afternoon, is that there's a high degree of hopefulness, belief. Because I could not believe, I could not get that through to her that the sun was not going over a horizon or around a horizon. It was that it's actually going into the horizon. It goes out of your sight before you can see it. It's just gone. Okay. And I think it's hard for people to get out of their head what these globetards love to push at people. And that's this picture of a fucking flat earth out in space, incorporated into the heliocentric model. And it's like, no. Shit can that whole idea. Just completely shit can that whole idea. Start fresh. Okay? Because all that nonsense was crap that was told to you. All this belief and not one bit of fucking evidence of anything going around the sun at all. Nothing. No proof of anything orbiting the sun. None of that. But it's one of those basic assumptions that they plant in your brain. It's a belief that they plant in your brain early on. Just for the shits and giggles, everybody type in the chat how old you were when you had to learn the planets or the solar system, or even make one of those little styrofoam ball models. How old were you when you were introduced to the little poem that says "My very eager mother" or whatever it is? How old were you when you get that? And I guarantee you 6, 5, 9, 8, there's 6. So it's before really any real critical thinking abilities have come into play. 8, 11. Wow, that's late. 5 or 6. So yeah, it looks like third Jake says 33. Yeah, well, we know what Jake's about here with that Illuminati shit. Young, 5 to 10 years old. Yeah, within there, I think 8 years old. Isn't it interesting? Yet a lot of people don't remember the exact age too. That's kind of fascinating. But nevertheless, you see 666 days, Mojo. You character, man. Big Pine Sailing says 5 or 6. I hope that's 5 or 6, not 56. Because yeah, but very young. So the point being is it's given to you between at a time when you have very little critical thinking abilities, and that's on purpose. It really is. And it's very effective too, because people, what were the comments that you got from the adults when you were able to tell your parents what the planets were in order, or tell grandma, or tell your mom and dad, or somebody else that the earth is a planet and it goes around? I bet you all heard, oh my gosh, he's so smart and so young to be so smart, and things of that nature. So it was very nurturing thing to learn too. You see, It was a very nurturing thing to learn because everybody gave you kudos, just like your Pledge of Allegiance. You learned this little fucking thing to say in front of the flag, and we said, "Look at how patriotic that little guy is. He's so smart. He knows his Pledge of Allegiance. Boy, he'll probably be president one day." We've all heard this fucking shit, right? And that's how it comes in. That's part of it. That's part of it. It's nurturing, see? And so you got some people that they are still craving that nurturing. They really are. They're still craving that nurturing because they still hold on to that. But my mommy loves me because she said I'm smart because I know all the planets and about Earth and science. And don't tell me because that means my mommy doesn't love me. Time to wake up. Time to wake up. Realize that you're in a dream. And they've got your brain so twisted around. They've been playing you since you were little. And the people playing you didn't even realize they were playing you. You know why? Because they had the same shit happen to them when they learned that nonsense, man. Oh, you're so smart. You're going to be a scientist, probably. My goodness gracious, you know. And so you're going to hold on to it. You're going to hold on to it. But once you realize that it's just a product of embedding, the people that told you the crap believed it because they were told the same way you were. It's a self-perpetuating programming system that takes place. And that's what we've been under. But once you start questioning that and realizing that, okay, I'm not going to blame these people. Do I think my teachers were lying to me? No, they didn't know that what they were saying was bullshit because they learned it the same way. So that's not a lie. They were just wrong. Okay. My perception of them, which was guided by this system as an educator, as someone to look up to, was also placed on me because had I known that the information I was getting from them was wrong, I would probably feel a need to tell them that they were wrong. In fact, in some cases, I did do that. And the repercussions of that were rather harsh. I found out that you're not allowed to tell that person at the front of the room that they're not correct because they're the teacher and you're not. It's diabolical. It's really sick. What's Lisa say here? I had a 16-year-old tell me that she's an honor student. I told her you have a good memory to memorize lies. There you go. Yes. An IQ test, what is it? It's an indoctrination test, man. It's not an intelligence quotient. It's an indoctrination quota. But they'll tell you it means intelligence. Because they believe that indoctrination and education are one and the same. And really, they kind of are. That's why I say I was once educated and I got better. Came out of it, which is remarkable because a lot of people, the further indoctrinated into it that they are, the harder of a time they have coming back out of it because you've got more little facets involved of pride, having blown your mouth off a lot, you know, that kind of thing. And it just, if the best thing you can do is just, I was wrong. I'm going to have to reevaluate this shit. Holy crap. But don't be surprised, man. When you live in the empire of lies, you know, truth is treason in the empire of lies. And that's what we are in. We know that. We know that everything is like a Luciferian inversion of reality. It's up is down, down is up. You know, healthcare destroying health, education systems destroying knowledge, healthcare systems destroying your health, you know, spiritual systems destroying the spirit. There's no end to it. Everything they tell you, oh, the earth is a little tiny ball and the sun is magnificently huge, and it's not. Okay, it's the sun's small, the earth is not a ball, it's flat and it's huge. And everything is just, it's almost like getting to the point where, you know how you get those fact check stickers on shit on Facebook, right? So when I see those, that to me, that says, oh, whatever that's covering up is probably right. That's the way I look at them. I look at it that way. So it's like I have to look at now, it's sort of like whatever they're running at me, I have to consider that it's probably the opposite of that, the exact opposite of that. Because it seems to be the flavor of the day is inversion. Got men thinking they women, science telling you that men can get pregnant. This is what science. Come on, man. I mean, at some point, people, I know we all realize that, yeah, shit's pretty screwed up. And it's like, no, it's not just screwed up. This is a total freaking clown world, man. This is a dream. This is because only a dream could be this fucked up, man. Only a dream could be this fucked up. There ain't no way, because it just gets sillier and sillier. It's almost like it's purposely getting sillier just to wake you out of it. I mean, I have to wonder if that's not the motive behind everything, or is it that we just see things now? Is it really getting more ridiculous, or are we just more and more seeing how ridiculous it's always been? I maybe a little bit of both. Thin line between dream and nightmare. Yeah, well, and there again, that's all your perception on it too. Daisy May says, just look how absurd the alleged governments are. Well, yeah, and there again, that reflects right back on the people, and the people are fucking crazy. They are. People are crazy. And so, of course, our government's going to be crazy, and government being a construct of the mind anyway, well, here we go. Sorry about that there, Lu Chen. I think that's his name. I don't know. No, Something Wong. That's his name. Something Wong. YouTube has been removing my videos from my channel that are at least 5 years old. Why? Oh, probably. This is the thing. They go back and punish people retroactively. Like they'll pass a rule and then go back and scrub anything that has it and punish the fucking content creators and shit. This is a shitty platform. That's why I say, let me put this up here so people can be sure. I have a Rumble channel goes too, and I just assume people go over there as to be here, because I'm able to get my message out despite YouTube's best efforts. Let me put it that way. Not because of YouTube, despite them. So this thing keeps going on. Who invented non-flammable cigarettes? Okay, that's what I'm curious about. Who invented non-flammable cigarettes, and how did you ever float that idea? And be like, hey, I got another idea. Yeah, what's that? Okay, so we have glasses, but in order to save water, we put holes in the bottom of it so people don't drink as much of the water. Hey, that's a great idea. Fuck. So you don't fall asleep in bed smoking. Well, it's never kept me from falling asleep or anything. Of course, I don't smoke in bed either, but I think you're just asking for trouble doing shit like that. And why would they care? Is it because they care about me, right, Super Dave? They care so much about me that they would not want a horrible fate like catching on fire to happen to me. But they don't give a fuck about nothing that they're spraying down in the sky on us and shit. Nah, it's fine. No big deal. Putting chemicals and shit. Chemical spills, no big fucking deal, man. Just forget it ever happened, But God damn it, don't burn up in a cigarette fire. Oh my God. And then, your teeth. We're going to care about your teeth. You can live in a fucking refrigerator box and freeze your ass off all winter long, but we want to make sure your teeth are healthy. So make sure you get your fluoride. Come on. Anybody that thinks the government's there for them, they're there for themselves. Anything they're doing for you, there's something in it for them, or they wouldn't be doing it. Okay. That vapor is good for you. That's right. Breathe deep. Vape pens are weird, not good for you. Well, I don't know. I tend to like this one. This is a good one. And it seems to be a good alternative when I'm going away someplace and I don't have to carry a bowl and a grinder and all that other things. Double diamond or flameless cigarettes, they never fucking stay. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. Don't care. I'm just here for the ride, and I'm gonna report as long as I'm here. I'm gonna do like that. Who that be? There's Harmon. What's happening, Harmon?
I see no one calling in talking to you. I said I better do it.
Oh hell yeah, no biggie. I carry it along, but popcorn lung will be awesome. I like popcorn lungs. Hell yeah.
They're worried about you falling asleep with a cigarette. Jeez.
Yeah, well, yeah,
They care about you.
they do. They absolutely do. That's why they.
Well, I got a couple bills they can pay if they really care.
Well, they draw the line at your teeth and falling asleep with a cigarette. That's where they draw the line. After that, they can't care about everything, Harmon. Jeez.
Oh,
they
man.
get campaigns to run.
A couple of these Joe Biden things are coming up where he's begging for money. I couldn't believe it. They're really running that guy. I didn't think they would put him back in.
He'll win too.
He would probably will.
He will. Listen, they're setting everybody up for another big fucking oh, what the fuck? That's what they're doing. They'll put him back in. Watch.
I would laugh so hard. I would think it's the funniest thing in the world. They put him back in. Because we know there's no difference in them. I'm not voting on anything. I don't care who is in there.
Well, and even if these people that are still participating in it, didn't they learn from the last one
or the one before? I mean, if they didn't learn from the last one, you can't learn. They're not going to learn.
No. And here's the worst part about it: they're yelling about, there was cheating, blah 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 blah. But have they done anything about it with the voting machines? No, they're still going to go right back to the same damn machines, do the exact same thing, and they're going to do exactly like they did the last time because, see, they think they got it all in the win now, right? Trump's got overwhelming support. He's got all these people are behind him and everything like that, and he did last time too, right? Joe Biden was fucking up. Would do videos from his basement. He had these rallies where there was like 20 people had to sit in these big hula hoops to be separated for the Holocaust. And now, they're going, oh no, Biden wouldn't stand a chance. Look how popular Trump is. And he's even got the black vote, blah, blah, blah. They're going to pull the rug out from under you again. Come on, Charlie Brown, kick the football. Come on, do it again.
You go back and look at the 1820s, 40s, and 60s. They were fighting over there, and they were stuffing ballot boxes. They were knocked down fighting right there at the ballot boxes, even back 100 and some years ago. It's every 4 years it's the same story. Look at Nixon and Kennedy. Closest vote ever. Closest vote ever. The only reason Kennedy won was because he looked better on TV. I mean, it's every election. So it's the same story.
Yep.
It's like they've been kicking the fence thing down the wall, the build a wall thing. Both sides have said it for the last 30 years. I can go back there and get Carter talking about it.
Well, it's a real simple thing, man. Okay, so if you got stray cats keep showing up, and you go, oh, look at that poor stray cat, right? So you feel bad for it, and you feed the stray cat, right? Well, next thing you know, there's a couple more stray cats, and they're showing up, yammering at your door every day, right? So you don't need a wall. You don't need a wall at all. All you have to do is you're free to come here. You're free to come here and visit, take as long of a vacation as you wish, but you don't get anything.
Right.
You can't work because you're not a citizen, whatever, right? You still have all that in place. You don't get housing. You don't get Medicare. You don't get anything. If I go visit Finland, They don't hit me up with, oh, welcome to Finland, David. Here's a fucking house for you, and here's some money, and here's this, and here's that. No, I go there at my expense, and when that's over, I go back home. Well, that's what we got to look at this. You don't need a wall. The problem with a wall, it might keep people out, but it also keeps people in.
That's what I was going to tell you. The wall works both ways.
That's right. And this is starting to look like a place you don't want to be.
Yeah, I've always said that. I've never agreed with the wall. Personally, I don't like borders. I don't like countries. I'm to the point, who in the hell made these rules up? And every time they make a new border, a new county, new housing district, every line they make is more taxes. Yep. Every line they make, every border, every county, every little, okay, this city's going to divide in half. Well, there's more taxes. Every line's a tax. Do you agree?
Yep. Well, people are under the mistaken impression that these people that are called representatives are there to represent them. They're not. They are board members, and they are trying to fight. Their job is to take more and more of your shit. That's what their job is. Their allegiance is not to you. It's to the corporation of the United States. And that's it. And unfortunately, that doesn't have anything to do with you, other than the fact that you're collateral. You're a dead mortgage property. That's it. That's their only interest in you. Probably one of the reasons they have laws against suicide.
Well, not in Canada anymore. Canada has that what's called MAID, medical assistance in dying.
Yeah.
There's been a lot of 19 to 20-year-olds who've done it already.
Sure.
And then they go ahead.
It's all part of the calling. It's all part of the calling of the herd. That's I knew this 15, 20 years ago that there was going to be a calling. I'd heard several whistleblowers talk about it, and well, we're in it now. You're going to do that through war, like we always do. Do it through, I don't know. Bill Gates said a good way to do it, right?
Yeah, I know. He's straight out about it. About it.
So
and the abortion clinics are the same thing. They're all part of it.
Right. And why not take those that are willing to go ahead and do it anyway now, if it's all in it, and the bottom line is because they really don't need us. They only need a few of us.
Exactly.
And like Klaus Schwab said, not everybody can be a robot polisher, right?
I love that he said that,
Yeah.
So in your face. But is anything really changing? I don't know. It's like say we wake up to it. It's always been going on. It's always been this way, but we just now see it better.
Yeah.
I don't know why
something I've noticed. I remember campaigns for Nixon on straight up. I mean, I can remember Johnson being in office, but I don't remember a whole lot about what was going on. A little bit. But the first one I actually saw was Nixon, and then Ford and all this. And the biggest common theme I see on both sides with every campaign, they run on progress, hope, and change. Now, my question is this: when will we know we have progressed to the point where we can just stop, where we can just don't have to progress anymore? When do we, in other words, like the kid in the back seat keeps saying, are we there yet? Okay. Are we there yet? And how come we're always hoping, and how come we're always changing? Everything always has to be changed. And then they go to that way, and then we need to change. We need to change. And this is just, I think, more projection toward a fiction of the mind that we call the future, instead of focusing on the now. They want you looking ahead instead of now. Here's problems now. Let's address these now, not in the future. But I want, when are we there? When do we get there?
When you die.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, so you don't get there. It's a perpetual end of times thing. It's so well oiled machine. It just runs on itself. One generation goes.
It doesn't. It's just it's a well lubricated hamster wheel, and it takes us to make it turn.
Right.
So
and there's
get
not
off
enough
the
of us.
hamster wheel.
There ain't enough of us to do that. And if you do it the wrong way, then you're eliminated.
Right.
You're just eliminated.
Yep.
You know, like those 4 presidents in Africa that didn't go along with 2020.
Yeah.
They're all dead.
Yeah,
They're
of
all
course.
dead. I mean, no one even blinks an eye about it. No one talks about it.
Nobody
and they go,
knows.
"Oh, sure they do." It's just you knew it, right?
Yeah, I knew. But see, those are that short, small percentage of us that are actually paying attention. You have to understand, most people, how many times do you run across this attitude? Well, what difference does it make anyways? I still got to go to work and pay bills.
That's when I very first learned this, and I told the first person I told it to, that was his exact answer.
Yeah.
So I got to go to work tomorrow. What do you care? It doesn't make any difference to me. I mean, seriously, first person I told.
That's a sad state of mind. It really is. That means that you've been beaten into your compliance so badly that you're just lay down and take it and not really explore what your potential actually is.
Yeah. So you ever hear Mr. Cheswick?
Kenny Cheswick?
No, he does songs and stuff. He's a flat earther. No, he's a flat earther since 2015.
Oh, okay. No, I don't think so.
Mr. Cheswick.
Wow, I don't know who he is.
You never heard of him? He put out a real new flat earth song today. Well,
did he?
Song. Yeah.
What's it called?
Mr. Cheswick. Just go to Mr. Cheswick's channel. It's his last one.
All right, Mr. Cheswick. Mr.
Yeah, he's been a flat earther forever.
Let's see.
He does parodies off of.
Goodbye, Globe Lie, 7 hours ago. Yeah. Oh, okay. It looks like it's a parody on a Pink Floyd song. This ought to be pretty good.
Yeah, it is.
This ought to be pretty good. Let's play it. Give me a chance to hit my bong, huh?
Okay. He's got a pretty good voice too. I've been listening since 16.
Damn it.
Look, Wolfie, there's a satellite in the sky.
Did you see the flying ones? Did you hear the floating ones? Did you ever want?
Oh, you fucking goddamn thing.
What happened?
Why we had to all get censored when the promise of a brave new will went far beneath the chemtrails.
Oh, this goddamn thing's getting better.
Did you see the flathead ones? Did you hear the globing ones? Flames are all but done, the game lingers on. Goodbye, those light. Goodbye, those light.
He does
That's all
good.
right.
Most of his on are on Odyssey because YouTube won't allow him.
Right.
No, but he's been
Yeah.
a fighter forever from England. A lot of people just don't hear him. I don't know why. He had some great ones. He used to pick on Baldy Cats. He used to pick on Fight the Fighter. They hate him. They hate that guy. They hate him. He put some really goods out there, especially with what's that guy's name? The Dan guy, whatever his name is. Everybody gets on to. Anyway, they hate him. He really put him in there. They gave him strikes and everything because of his songs he put out against them. Have you ever heard of him?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Have you heard of him, Anson?
No, I haven't actually. It's like they hide the stuff so well that I only really discover new stuff through like podcasts like these and stuff.
Yeah,
same with the other channels.
He does the England also.
It's once you get into that internet, like as soon as I veer off a particular course, you just get inundated with the nonsense, and it's like you can't find what you're looking for.
Oh, I know.
Where do you live at?
He's asking where you live at, Anson.
Is it coming through okay, the sound?
Where do you live?
I live in a town called Aberystwyth in West Wales.
West Wales, huh? My boys were born in Oxfordshire, in a place called Headington.
Yeah, I was born in Cheltenham.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not Welsh, but I've lived here for 26 years.
I never made it over to Wales. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it's really nice, man. Well, yeah.
Dr. Bass Ackford says someone needs to put FTFE's voice to C3PO. He sounds just like him. He still hasn't fully recovered from getting his ass kicked by Caleb. He still hasn't recovered from that. I don't know what McToon's thing's going to be, but he sure did. He sure did get a lot of attention with his blow up the other night. And then I was looking when Brenda came on here and started. Actually, I couldn't believe it. She was actually defending James Alefantis, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah. When she was on doing was that when she was doing her debate?
No, this was she popped on the other night when I was talking about McToon's
on your show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And she started getting butt hurt because that's her guy, McToon. And I'm like, look, this ain't what I'm saying, right? I'm just going what it looks like and what people are saying, man. That's all, right? And then she's just got really crazy talking about, well, I'm going to try to get your channel shut down and blah, 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 and this, that, and the other. She goes, do you believe in Pizzagate? And I said, what the fuck difference would it be if I did or didn't, man? What are you talking about? Yeah, that thing. I found a couple other videos of her or it or whatever the fuck, losing her mind on other podcasts and shit, just going, shut up, fuck you, shut up, just going on a tirade like that for like 5 minutes, just completely off her meds, man, completely. I couldn't believe it, man. It was like, wow. Did you catch the thing today, Anson?
I got the first half of it.
Yeah,
the first hour I watched of your discussion with the lady.
Yeah. She's from South Africa.
Yeah. It was weird, actually. It was like she was more coming into the space with, a curiosity and wanting to ask questions more than, anything else. I don't know. How did it end?
She said she'll have to come back. She was thankful that I'm not a prick and shit about it, Some of the people in the chat kind of pissed her off, but I tried to tell her, I says, listen, that's like fucking Thunderdome in there. Okay, don't pay attention to the fucking chat. Pay attention to the conversation because you've been around long enough, Anson. The chat can get like fucking Mad Max and Thunderdome shit going on in there. Only one comes out. They get to battling on each other and shit.
Yeah, well,
So,
it's an open forum, I guess. And the thing is, sometimes you just type something in, and then you just type it or regret it or whatever. But it's just as long as it's the one-off and it's nothing,
right.
And like sometimes people are like, oh, sorry, I went a bit far, whatever. But I've never your chat is usually pretty chilled.
Yeah, they're not bad. I mean, some people said some shit that they kind of took offense to. I was like, I kind of take shit like that and I'll kind of laugh or I'll highlight it and respond to it or whatever. But after a while, if somebody gets to the point where they're just fucking irritating, I just get rid of them. Like Lisa was like that, right? I was like, just go somewhere. And then finally, Sean Hawkins, I was like, why do I even allow him to be over here? What the fuck? He's just an asshole every time he shows up, and everything he does is just to be an asshole. So I don't need that around, Now
That's
somebody
Sean
go ahead.
Hawkins. They remind me when I did my channel 2 years ago. I just put one channel up under Flat Out Outlaw, and I put a video up about the moonlight, right? And it wasn't up 5 minutes, and I got a Sean Hawkins comment, first comment ever. And I'm going, how the hell is nobody? I've never told. I don't even tell nobody I got this channel. Nothing. I put it up, and within 5 minutes, Sean Hawkins is typing in there, and he's thinking I'm saying something, and he's making the opposite of what the video shows. I go, shut your fucking spitting mouth up, dude. He never came back. I've been watching him forever. Even that Mr. Cheswick had a video on him singing a song about that.
Well, I was supposed to debate him. I went and got it set up to be on Modern Day Debate. And then he acted like a fucking prick in the email and declined to go on the show. And I'm like, all right, well, what are you talking about? He says, well, you need to bring a map, this, that, and the other. I says, we'll talk maps. I ain't got no problem talking about maps. I got some questions for you about maps. Okay. But he was looking for any excuse to not do it because he knew I would fucking devastate it.
He doesn't even care that. He's just an idiot.
Yeah.
I don't know why, like the Brenda and all those people, they just do it for kicks. They know what they're doing.
I think, and this is my theory, I think a lot of these guys are in trouble for something. Now, how would Sean? You just had a channel. How big was it?
2 people.
That's all the more people you had on.
I didn't have nobody on there. I'm telling you, I didn't. Right. Yeah.
So you'd have to ask yourself, how would he find this obscure channel that just is along the line of shit that he goes out after, right? Probably because he got a notification from someone at Google or at YouTube about here's one for you. Okay. They're getting it like how salesmen will get a call sheet. You know how a salesman will get a spec sheet that it has prospective customers on it?
Yeah.
Right? Here's one. Try this one. Try this one. Go there. Here's a place where you can fulfill your obligation to do this nonsense. Because, I mean, literally the dude has to berate his own audience and threaten to quit if they won't donate money to him and shit.
Yeah, I think that's just. I think they're paid. They're all paid.
Yeah. But I think I don't think it's really a willing thing that they're doing this for. I think they've gotten in trouble for something, and they have to.
Well, I thought Sean always was a homeless guy that got picked up and put in that little shack he's in. Honestly, I really think he was a homeless guy. They picked him on the street and did it.
He used to live under a bridge.
Did he?
And yell. Yeah, he used to live. He yelled at billy goats all day.
He's not there. He is not there. That's for sure.
I'm just going off the Billy Goat's gruff story.
Not one of them would do what I call. We all think everybody's different and stuff, but those guys are definitely oddballs. Not one of them. You would be friends with or anything. I mean, they're not normal people.
No, they're nobody I would want to sit around and hang with. Regardless, and I talk to people who have different opinions and different views all the time. Get along with them great. I'm just saying they're just the type of personality I wouldn't even want to ever be around.
I wish the system would change it up and put some girl on there to do it against the debate.
A real one.
Yeah. They can make it a good AI one. I don't care as long as it's a girl. Just get a change up.
God damn. Well, there's we've got a couple that have been working on our side for a little bit.
No, I know that. I'm just saying.
Doing some pretty good work. I don't know. I don't see a whole lot of female Globers. I mean, there's that Rachie is out there, and well, then they had to make Brenda, I guess. Well,
what a joke.
Yeah, that's the thing though. There's a lot of I kind of understand why a lot of women wouldn't want to go on the platforms, because it is a weird, that environment is kind of weird. And like you say, all these characters, you can't even know who's who really, for who's really who. So I don't know,
You're
man.
So right. You're so right. I tell you, if a woman came on, it would be brutal.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. It's everyone's different, Everyone's got their own, what they're comfortable with and what they're capable of that time. I'm not even that into coming on camera and stuff, but it's just now and again. So I think it's different for everyone, It's a personality type, whatever.
What's this? Renee put up here. She says, bad news. 4 channels all documenting lies and abuse from Owen Benjamin have been under mass flag attack in this last hour. Liz Antoinette, Now House Video, Covert Radio, and she said somebody else, Texas Goat Radio Show. What are they doing? They just striking all their fucking videos and shit where they were talking about Owen. I know Owen is most likely, since that appearance with Brian Young, I think that caused him to bleed a lot of support. I really do. I think that he bled a lot of support from that. He bled subscribers. And I think the more that these people are putting the hammer down about his bullshit, he's getting desperate now and trying to mass attack with copyrights or whatever, and hey, whatever. I don't know. That's why I don't try to. I try to stay out of that kind of an arena. I'll show something, let y'all think about it. I'll put my opinion out there about it, but I ain't gonna keep harping about it. That just says that I've said what I got to say on it until I got something more. It's all I'm gonna say. I don't want to keep going on it. But yeah, panic mode. You're right, Renee. Absolutely, and it happens.
This Dr. Bass Ackwards, he said medical information. Women have good intuition. They can see flat Earth is more of a nurturing habitat. So
yeah,
not going to do that. I think he's right.
I do too. Absolutely. It is because it's all about creation. And women are we're co-creators. That's why we are with women. We're 2 halves of a whole. And through the 2 of us coming together whole, along with God, can create, you see. And of course, that nurturing aspect, like he says, is instinctive in the woman. That's in the protection, and the other is instinctive in the man. This is just the 2 halves of the whole. That's it. It's real.
Yeah. You don't mess with the mother's young. I love that. The best chickens we had out of all on our farm growing up, the little Banny chicken. You did not go near her babies. And she's the littlest chicken there, but she'll fight to her death. You stay away from her little babies.
Yes, sir. That's how any animal is. Most animals, anyway.
I know, but when they're little, it's a little. You think it's cute because what are they going to do to you?
Right. Yeah, and I think you can learn a lot by observing nature, and I think that the fact that they've taken us too far away from our natural roots. I'm not saying we should be living in trees or caves or some shit like that, but we really have been far removed from our natural environment to the point where I think that's what's causing a lot of people's fucking insanity.
Oh, back to your Owen Benjamin thing, right?
Yeah.
And I was listening to that direct because I like Brian Young, right? I like him a lot.
I do too.
Only if he didn't start, he always name calls. He always calls me. He has to always come down to be vulgar. He ends up being nothing but vulgar.
Yes.
And it is. And I see one point in his side. He says Owen. He knows he's in the system, and so he's going to use the system to his advantage. And Brian, which he taught me everything about how bad government is and all this stuff, and I've been watching him for 6 years. But I see his part. But sometimes Brian, High Impact Flicks, sometimes his idealism, there's nothing you can do about it. You can't fight the system every day. You just can't. And if Owen could get that point over without his being vulgar, stupid, and an idiot, I don't know. It was ridiculous. Like you said, I remember you giving that talk about it.
Yeah, and it is. It's almost a way to get you to, I'm going to win by grossing you out. It's almost like it's the same as the kid just taking a mouthful of food and going at you because he doesn't have anything else. And what we saw there was a lot of times what we see with people all the time. They'll say, well, you don't have government, then show me utopia. And it's like, wait a minute. Nobody said a fucking thing about utopia. You're never going to have utopia. That's a fantasy. Okay? There's no such thing as utopia. But let's face it, we have government now, and it's far from utopia. We have laws that are supposed to protect you from criminals, but it's still going on. Catching the guy after the fact does not prevent it from occurring. The only thing to prevent the crime, the best prevention is you. But they don't want you to know that, because then if you knew that, you wouldn't feel like you need them. It's just like a little kid. Little kid's crying. He's in his bed crying because he saw a boogie monster out the fucking window, rattling his window and tapping on the glass and shit. And his mommy, daddy, And they come in and turn on the light. What is it, Billy? There's a monster outside my door, And they're like, okay. And dad goes and checks and says, okay, Billy, there's nothing there. Now go on back to sleep. Here you go, mommy. Kisses him on the cheek and puts him back to sleep, right? And this happens all the time. But then one day Billy's rummaging around and he finds the fucking monster mask in his dad's closet. And he's like, oh my God. And he realizes that his dad is dressing up like a monster and acting, scaring him out the window so that they will call for him, so that he'll need his mommy and daddy.
He's the government. Yeah.
Right. Well, that's what your government does to you all the time. Oh, these people are after you. ISIS is coming. Giant meteors are going to smash into you from space. The Russians will nuke you. Better be careful of these Mexican gangs. Better be careful of this. Watch out for that. Slippery roads, wintry mixed conditions. Everything is to put you in a state of fucking fear.
Anson,
and
do you have any children?
Hasn't happened. All based on it might fucking happen.
Do you have any children?
Yeah,
definitely add to that, man. That point, because they're doing the same with the approach to like nature and the natural world, in like the films and the sort of how they project it is this place of danger that like eat and everything, killing each other, and if you go out there you'll be like in this hostile environment, you won't survive for a second, and that's where it's all, you need this society to protect you from what is in fact reality and nurturing, and it is this thing of like,
Anson, I'm so scared, and I'll never lose it. I cannot go in the ocean. I mean, and they got it. It's fear. They've done the same thing to the ocean. They've shown you all these horrible things that go out there, and I will not go in. I just won't do it. So exactly. They won on me on that part.
You basically you just imagine Jaws now. If you go, it says Jaws 1, Jaws 2, Jaws 3, and now it's this horrific thing of just not wanting to go in the beach in like a Hawaiian island or something.
I was 13 when Jaws came out, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
I couldn't swim in my friend's swimming pool.
Yes. I know. They were having trouble. Beaches, man, were empty. Nobody was going swimming and shit. Everybody, it was shark mania everywhere. Oh. And then they feed it even more by having Shark Week on Discovery Channel and shit, and they really get you afraid of these things. You know, it's really funny. It really is. It's funny because I lived on a lake, a freshwater lake. But it wasn't any stretch of the imagination to me once I'd found out that there's sharks had been found swimming up into the Mississippi River. And I'm like,
At least
oh,
that's what they
okay.
tell us. Yeah.
Yeah. And then I find out that actually catfish, which I've caught several times, are in the same family as sharks. And I'm like, oh,
So they're
fuck it.
calling us catfish a shark.
Yeah. Wow.
But it's scary though. It's a mind. It was. It's powerful. God, it was powerful. You know?
Yeah. I mean, the power of the cinema, the power of the
I think
movies.
that's part of us keeping us from going to whatever the outskirts of our realm is. It has to go by ocean, and they've really found it that the ocean, it's waves will destroy you, and this winds, gales, and everything. You know.
Oh yeah.
So
Yeah,
they
and
keep
we can make it even worse because you could get lucky, if you call it lucky, and end up like Tom Hanks on that Castaway movie, you know. And you know, there, look how deadly it is. This guy almost died, and he got a little cut, and it almost killed him, and you know, all this shit, like you're saying, to make you afraid of nature.
They won. They won on the ocean with me. Yeah, I give up.
I think it's the vastness of the ocean that intimidates me. You know, because I'm like, there's nothing there. I mean, it would be, I guess, if there were such thing as space, it would be the same thing for me. Like, it's just like, okay, what the fuck? Where do I go from here? Right? If this thing went down, which way do I swim? You know,
that's it. That's like a respect for it. It's an understanding of it, and you're naturally like ready to make those sort of observations about nature when you go out in it. It's not like this insipid danger which is created by human beings that you can't really fully kind of work with because it's not natural. You know, but they're trying to make you think that this real danger is from something that we're easily intelligent enough to work around nature and garden it and do everything we need to, you know?
Yeah.
And then these Vikings were supposed to come over like in 1100 or 1200, and they went in these boats that would just one little wave would go over. So what's true? You know, is the Viking story true or is the waves true? I don't know.
Both probably.
Well, according to PhD Tony, okay, the Vikings, they found Greenland by accident. And I'm like, really? Have you ever seen Greenland? You know, it's like kind of fucking hard to miss. You know, it's not like you're okay, you know, and it's really not that far from where they were sailing from either, you know. So I think it was known about. I'm pretty sure that it was known about. Just like the Americas were known about. You know, I think some of the geology has changed, or the geography, and not just due to Mandela effects, but I mean, you look at a very well drawn out map, that Urbano Monti 1587 map, very well drawn out, very detailed, showing some slightly different shit going on as far as climates are concerned. I mean, there's plant life and animals in an area that is now the Sahara Desert. We see Antarctica with depictions of plants and animals and a very detailed coast, little inlets going in and backsides to the coast as well. So, I mean, it's like there was a lot more known than what they're telling us. And perhaps some of that knowledge got lost due to some kind of an upheaval, a cataclysm, or what have you, and it had to be rediscovered or remapped. But it's not like this shit was just sitting there dormant, unknown for thousands of years until some guy got in a boat and said, "Hey, man, look at this, what I found over here by accident because I got lost." Yeah, no.
Yeah, and that's just, there's always some funny story that goes with it where you start getting suspicious that they're having you on, you know. It's like you say, they got lost on a stormy day and they discovered it. And there's, you know, it's when in reality, it was always the more like logical thing that, you know, that really it was just everyone sailing everywhere and just like trading and just normal society, man. They want to give their glory to these like random figures like Columbus, whoever.
Yeah, but
Make
think
them-
about this. He didn't discover anything. There was already people there. You know, it's sort of like going, look, I discovered Walmart. No, you didn't. There's already people knew about Walmart and shit. They're already here. They got cities and civilizations and, you know, what are you talking about? You discovered it. Somebody else discovered it a long time ago. They just didn't tell you about it. It's all.
Yeah, it's like, you know, like, well, hell, when they discovered America, well, let's say people were here. What did you discover? Yeah,
Well,
what
yeah,
you're saying.
especially when you see that there was I think a lot of this shit was already here.
Yes, I do
You
too. They
know?
just repurposed it. Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
you take like look at Salt Lake City.
I was gonna say that I was raised Mormon, right?
Okay, so they
I was
had
raised
how many did he take? Joseph Smith took what? 500 men, women, children, old people, bunch of people. They all go and head out west.
That was Brigham Young. Joseph Smith was dead already,
All right.
but
So,
it doesn't matter.
Okay, Brigham Young, whichever guy, they went out there. Now, out of these women, children, and old people and men, how many were skilled artisans? How many were skilled quarry workers? How many of them were skilled architects? How many of them were civil engineers? How many of them were brick makers? How many of them were very few? But in less than 50 years, they had this tabernacle and a freaking city built.
I was when I was going on my mission when I was 19. They take you to the Salt Lake City Temple there, right?
Mhm.
And I'm looking at it, and I'm going, how'd they build this? I'm asking at 19. I remember I was really questioning them. And they said, well, they already had answers planned. Well, there's a quarry about 10, 15 miles out here where they dug it out of the mountainside. I go, well, how'd they do that? You know, I'm questioning because I'm saying this is fantastic building. And then that, like you say, the tabernacle where they have a thing where you're like on the very back row up the top, and a guy on the stage takes a pin, just a pin, not a pen you write with, but a push pin or whatever, drops it on the stage, and you can hear it clean as day way back in the top of the back of the tabernacle. And so they didn't build that. There's no way. Like that. I'm glad you said that about Salt Lake City. I was going to bring that up too.
You know, they got another one right here in well, it's north of here, up near DC. There's a Mormon tabernacle. I don't know if you knew about that one or not.
Oh, you talk about temple. Tabernacle is the thing where the Mormon choir sings. It's on TV and stuff.
Okay, well, there's a big old tower. There's a big old tower, and it's got a gold statue up on the very top. I think it's Moroni, the
Moroni, Angel Moroni.
Yeah, and you can see it from the freeway from a long ways as you're going into DC. You see it. It's
On
right
purpose.
there. Yeah. But there again, a lot of that shit in DC.
San Diego Temple the same way.
A lot of that shit in DC, I think it was already there.
Well, that one was built. That was. It's not that fancy. The only one that's fancy is the one that's in Salt Lake City. They did not build that. There's no way.
Well, this is what I always wondered, right? When I was a kid, I'm thinking, okay, I'm going along the paradigm of the colonists and all this shit that took place to become America, right? But I'm looking at like Washington, D.C., and I'm like, why are they trying to make this place look like ancient Greece? Why are they trying to make it look like ancient Rome? Why does everything have these columns in the same architecture and the same temple structure and everything else as they find in Greece and Rome? What in the world is really going on here?
How old were you when you were asking this?
Oh, probably 8.
Oh, really? You figured it out then?
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, because I'm figuring you would follow more American traditions, rather than let's revive architecture from ancient Greece and ancient Rome. Why are they doing that? And then I started wondering, what is the significance of this? Every state capitol building looks the same or very similar, always with this dome, The one in DC, Michigan State Capitol, and for crying out loud, even Montana, built way back in the 1800s. They had Montana had a population of 6. No, you know what I'm saying, though. I mean, it was really a sparsely populated state, but here they have this big ornate Capitol building, just like all
Yeah.
the other states. And I'm wondering, there's something else behind this, because you there again, you would figure each state, having started out as their own sovereign country, unified is as the United States, but each one of them having their own thing, right? Each state has their own flag, each state has their own song, their own state tree. You would figure that their Capitol building would be something more indicative of the culture of those people of that state, and not just organically or manufactured. Like, okay, this is what a Capitol building must look like or something. I don't know. Just very suspect to me. And the stories they give you for that crap is always just crap. It's always just some like, shut up. That's dumb.
Yeah, Becker in the chat said, he said, they said, the Mormon temple was built by previous tenants. We are just not being told about it. I think, Becker, you are so right, just like Sovereign just said. It's frustrating. Do you know I have a harder time trying to bring that subject up to people than flat Earth?
Oh,
Someone
yeah.
else built it. I mean, literally, that really shuts them down.
Yeah, man.
I don't know how you had a chance. How about you, Anson? Have you ever tried to show anyone the old stuff?
Yeah, I'm not an amazing response, to be honest.
I mean, brain dead, worse than flat Earth. At least you get a reaction from flat Earth.
Yeah. Yeah,
What do you
just
think?
talking
Yeah,
about
kinda
stuff like history and that or whatever, like people aren't, so interested. But like when you see how everything's interconnected, it's like, it's just part of the learning process. You can't help not look at the history once you sort of unravel the other stuff.
It
Because
makes
it's
me
the
sad.
same people, isn't it?
Yeah, same people. I mean, I'd like to know where they went. Did they just sell
Yeah.
off in air tubes to another place and get out of here? That's what I think. They did a little poll in your chat. They wanted to know if Owen's cool, one. If Owen's cool, not cool, push misses. 1 for Owen is cool, 2 for Owen sucks. And
I'll
he
put
got
it
all.
up.
I'm
I'll
cool
tell you
with
what I'll
Owen
do. I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll put a poll
if
up.
he's nice.
Right?
No, Owen's very childish. That's why he's not cool.
I'm sure he's a nice guy. He's just obviously like he's got a bit carried away a few times. That's all.
I don't know how he thinks he's tough talking like that behind the camera. He should not talk like that. High Impact Flex didn't do anything wrong. I mean, and he called him all these names. Did you see it, Anson?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think maybe he'd had a drink or something. He seemed a bit wild-eyed.
He made himself look bad and then wanted to shift the blame over onto Brian for it.
So that's not cool.
So I just put a poll up in the chat. Is Owen Benjamin cool? We'll see how that rolls. Maybe we'll catch some traction with that poll. I don't know. We'll see. What do we got going on here? 110 people. And we need to hit that like button, people, if you could. That helps the algorithm. Channel's growing really good, man. We're up to 1.59 thousand. So we've got about, in the last week, close to 500 subscribers.
That's
So that's
good.
pretty good. Or I'm sorry, 50, not 500. I'm close to 50.
I thought you
Yeah.
said 500. That'd be awesome.
Oh, it had my decimal place in the wrong spot there. I wasn't accounting for refraction. That's what
Right.
it was.
The IRS wouldn't believe you.
No.
You're going to jail.
I don't think they're going to buy my dark money math either. So
Oh, that is too funny.
I'm going to try to float it though. Hell, it's working on these idiots for dark matter. Why not? But no, that's Owen Benjamin. Wow. So yeah, what I was going to say though is that in the catacombs in Paris, I'm sure you're familiar with the catacombs of Paris. Or those bones have been boiled.
Boiled?
Yeah, that's why they're preserved.
Okay.
So what the fuck? Who were they, man? And why are there so many of them, man? It's like there's the big thing, like where did everybody go? Why were there all these orphans everywhere? You even look at the Dickinsonian stories where you have Oliver, even up into the early 20th century, you had little orphan Annie, had Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. Those were all orphans. You had all these orphan stories and shit. And then we know about the orphan trains and all that. So what happened? Where
Where
were
did
the
the adults
adults?
go? Where did the
Yeah,
adults go?
where did the adults go?
That's weird. Or are we just thinking linear that they had to come from adults? Maybe they did have the incubators and they did petri dish them. I don't know.
Nothing's off the table, man. Nothing's off the table.
Because the adults had to go somewhere.
Yeah. And there again, I keep thinking of those bones in Paris, and that's probably not the only place where there's like that, but boiled. I mean, these were done purposely to preserve for some reason.
It's this like process of having to reevaluate everything historically under the understanding that they did have the technology and stuff to do certain things. So all the things that we were looking at it in one way, like you say, now we're thinking they were messing around with genetics or tech, so it is like anything's possible,
Mm-hmm.
You just have to look at the evidence, I guess, and compare.
Well, did you ever see that movie, The Village? M. Night Shyamalan?
I'm not sure I've seen that one. No.
It's where these people, they live like it's the 1600s, right? And they don't go venture into the woods because there's these creatures that reap them and shit like that, right? And so they've been living like this, and pretty soon this one, at the very end of it, spoiler, it's an old movie. If you haven't seen it, too bad for you. Hey, Flatzoid, good to see you, my man. So spoiler alert, she makes it out through the woods and she comes to a chain link fence and she climbs over it and she almost gets hit by a car because there's a road. And it's like these people have been like for generations inside this enclosed compound, believing that they were back with a certain limited amount of technology and every other thing, no electric lights, everything was torches and candles and shit.
Right.
But it was actually taking place now.
Right. I saw that. I saw and then at the end they show an aerial view of it, and it's just an area cut out through a forest, and they're just kept in that area.
Yeah. So my point being is those people weren't stupid. They were just ignorant and a product of their environment, right? So consequently, if you take new arrivals and you only give them a limited amount of technology, like was introduced at the World's Fairs, and then let them go from there, give them a little head start. Here you go. Look at, this came from some people over here in Germany, and this came from some people over here in England or whatever else. And let's put all this together, and look at all the progress we can make. What? All of a sudden now, most of the foods that we eat were presented to us at the World's Fairs.
Probably were.
Yeah.
Everything was done at the World's Fairs. It was crazy. I still, when I was like 5 or 6 years old, like 1965, 66, I can still remember them talking about World's Fairs. World's Fairs was still a big deal. So I couldn't wait till I was old enough to get to go. By the time I got old enough, they pretty much were gone.
Dreamy Lynn, Escape the Chains is here. Good to see you, dear. Hope everything's going good. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail. Go ahead.
No. I love you to give me. You know how much people love it when you talk to the chat. That gets your channel to grow bigger than anything. When you see something in the chat and you comment on it, people just love that so much.
Well, sure, and it's like I think of it like, and here's what's really strange. Here's what's weird is because I start getting used to certain names, right? I've never met the people. Like Dreamy, I've talked to her on the phone and on here, of course. But a lot of these people have been here from the beginning, and then other ones have come along, and I recognize the name and know the kind of comments they make and blah blah blah. And I almost insert personalities with these people too, because I can kind of pick that up. But then I go to something like in Las Vegas, right? And then all of a sudden somebody comes up and goes, "Hey, how you doing?" and gives me a hug, man. And I'm like, "Oh my God, I don't even know who this is." And then when they tell me who they are, and I'm like, Okay, boom. Now I've got a face to associate with that person, but it's really strange for me at first because I'm just not used to people going, "Hey, I know you." And I'm like, "You do?" You know, then I'm like, "Oh, that's right. They see me, but I don't see them. I only see a name or maybe a little avatar." And a lot of times people don't use their own picture for their avatar. Lisa
Yeah.
does. She's got, see Lisa's little dog? She's got this dog named Teddy that is the sweetest thing. Oh my God. My wife and I went over there because Lisa had a whole bunch of yarn, and my wife does crochet, and she was getting rid of this yarn. She gave my wife 5 big plastic totes full of yarn. And incidentally, Lisa, she just finally got it all put away, and we're going to be bringing your totes back to you. She just lives over on the other
What kind of
street.
dog is it?
I forget what she told me it was, but it's a dog that don't shed. This dog
Okay,
does not shed. His name's Teddy, Teddy Bear, and he does. He looks like a little teddy bear. I don't think that is that Teddy. I can't tell from the size of the picture. But that's Lisa. Lisa does a lot of homeopathic, uh, like health foods and things
Oh,
like
okay.
that. And like my wife got some valerian root to help her sleep, and some shit like that. So really cool. She's got a page on Facebook. You can look up for Mama Lisa's Apothecary,
Mhm.
and yeah, she's on Facebook. So she makes some killer fucking canna butter fudge. Oh my. She says, I want you to try it because I know you've got a high tolerance. I was like, okay. No problem. So I ate this chunk of fudge, and a little while later, after I got home, I was like, yeah.
Now you're so skinny. You never overate in your life.
Oh my God. Oh yeah,
Anyway,
man.
Dr. Backasford says it's like the babies and kids were treated a lot differently back then. Orphan trains, baby incubators with babies, and the fairs and the Cabbage Patch Kids. And what do you remember in school? I remember they're showing us all the old pictures of the kids running the factories.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, that's kid slavery. Then we need to put laws in there." No, they just grew up,
Right.
and so then they could be men doing it because
Well, you've got you mean to
remember that
tell me
school?
it's cheaper, it's easier for you to have a bunch of kids that to work a machine that's obviously designed for an adult to operate? Really? Where are all the adults?
Right.
Where,
So
where are they at?
right. So there were. That's it. You can't wrap my mind around it. It really frustrates me because I do remember in school. Do you remember in school they showing the pictures of the little kids and they're talking about how child labor and they passed the laws? Oh, we're not gonna have that anymore. That was a big deal. I was just old enough to start learning that. And I'm going, and then there was someone in the chat said they went to the World's Fair in '64.
Oh wow.
I don't know who that was. I saw it on a glance. But anyway, so yeah, where do you think the kids came from? Where do you think happened to the parents?
I haven't looked that much into that specific kind of period, that issue, but I do believe that it was a thing, like the orphanages, and a lot of definitely kids went to work much younger then, like maybe 14, 15, started apprenticeships.
Oh, they were 7 and 8 years old.
But like I also, it could literally have been just the extreme harshness of life in London at that time. A lot of poor people just died or didn't have any money, and the whole family would have to be working. Whether I couldn't really comment on the whole other kind of test tube thing, but in terms of socially, I kind of from what we hear from fiction and stuff, Dickens, it seemed like it was pretty harsh. Which doesn't surprise me because they were, pretty evil people, in charge, same people, man.
How would you ask the question, Sovereign? How would you ask the question? Were there parents or were they like all those incubators? Come on, parents didn't just give the kids up. So how would you say it?
I think they were custodians. I think they were custodians and therefore didn't have like a parental feeling of responsibility toward these kids, like I say, if they were manufactured. And so, of course, there's not going to be, they have a job to do. We're trying to repopulate this area. So you're going to treat the kids more as a commodity than you will anything else. I think that's my opinion on why there was. Of course, we don't know what the treatment really was. These stories do make for good dramas and things like that, but I would tend to say that they probably did, just like in orphanages and things like that, which there were multitudes of. That we know how hectic it can be for a parent to have to mind after 3 kids. Can you imagine having to be minding after 50 or 100?
Right.
Day in and day out.
And Lisa Marie said in the chat, she said, but Lisa Marie, we're talking before World War II. She's saying after World War II is like this. We're talking about the turn of the century.
Yeah. About during even the Victorian era. So this is a big deal. It's like, where did they come from? Right? Why are all of a sudden we've got orphans? Why do we have bones in the catacombs? Why do we have these structures that seem to be buried with 2 and 3 floors beneath them that were previously unknown about? These are questions that we have to really get into and ask.
They don't. They're holding. That's what gets me more mad. I don't care about being controlled. I care that people know there's someone that has the information, and they just won't tell us.
I bet it's in the Vatican.
The flooding thing almost. The flooding thing almost certainly has happened in some way over the earth. Like, no one can dispute that,
Yep.
And whether it's partly natural, partly geoengineering, and like maybe big like events where they like divert whole river systems to take out cities, which isn't actually very difficult. Like, if you can harness the power of a river and you understand water, you could easily swamp out. The population would just go and do to their next project, whatever they've got planned for you, and they'll just swamp out a city and then rebuild from that. It'd be a very effective way of doing it, if you wanted to reset an area, But I don't know, man. It's all speculation at this point, obviously.
Well, I'll tell you this. I saw when I went to the Grand Canyon, I'd only seen it previously in pictures, right? And then I went there, and I remember standing there looking at this shit, and I was going, this did not happen over millions of years. This happened rather quickly. That was the impression that I got, that this happened quickly, almost like as the waters receded, and I've seen the same effect on a beach. Take water and pour it up on the beach somewhere, and then watch as it goes back to the lake or back to the shore, and it carves its way bigger and bigger and bigger, exactly like that, and then leaves that exact same type of structure. And I was like, there ain't no way this took millions of years. This was rapid. This was sudden.
Yeah, and then it's quite convenient that they then tie that into their dinosaur narrative and say, oh, this is one of the places where we're finding the oldest bones because it goes so far down, So it's always an opportunity just to, do.
Well, and there's the one that gets you to go, well, how do you know how old that is? And I say, well, because of the layer we found it in. It's like, so how do you know the date of the layer of where well, we know the date of the layer because of the stuff we find in it. And it's like, wait a minute, man, what the fuck? And they literally are doing that, man.
Yeah, it's this Clightening 300, and your chat says that the grandmother and her sister were orphans in Poland in 1900. So they were just everywhere orphans. The whole world, I guess.
That's insane, man. I wonder why.
I can't pronounce that name. Clightening 300.
Let me see. Yeah, Sea Lightning 300 miles.
Sea Lightning.
Yeah.
I'm not a license plates reader. I'm terrible when I try to read those license plates. What the hell does that say? Then my friend will say, "Oh, that's what it says."
Right.
And after you say it, I see it. Sea Lightning. I like that.
It's a clever name, I thought.
Yeah, it's too clever for me. I failed.
Yeah, I'm going to get in a wreck one day trying to figure out personalized license plates. I swear.
I give up. I have to have someone translate it for me. Sea lightning. That's pretty cool. What's a
I
sea
like-
lightning? 300 miles?
Yeah,
Oh, you can see lightning 300 miles away, I guess, or something.
saw lightning from 300 miles away. Yeah, thought that was pretty cool. And I can relate, man, because when I was going through Oklahoma, as I was saying earlier, at time going through Oklahoma, right before all those tornadoes came, man, I was actually watching that shit way up ahead. And it was a long ways way up in front of me. And, you know, nothing obstructing my view, nothing but the horizon. Flat as shit, Oklahoma. And
Wow.
I could see these dark ass clouds up ahead. It was still kind of sunny where I was at, but I look up ahead and it was just like getting dark, almost nighttime dark, like you were heading into the night. And these lightning bolts coming down all across the horizon, just everywhere.
That must be just beautiful, huh?
It was really incredible. And I was like pretty taken by it. And then after I kind of went through there and I finally stopped for the night, I looked on my phone and there was a warning and all these reports of tornadoes touching down all over the place where I had just gone through. And I was like, holy shit. Well, that's more
Big
than
Pine says that he can. Big Pine Selling says he can see storms in Cuba from his house,
wow.
but he
Yeah,
didn't tell you he lives in Cuba. No, just joking.
Yeah, he's in Cuba.
He's in Cuba. That's
Yeah. I can see storms on the Blue Ridge Mountain from my house.
You live in the Blue Ridge Mountains.
They're right out my front window, so you know it's pretty easy.
Hey, there's a trivia question for you. What's the flattest state?
Kansas.
No.
Yeah. They just
No,
they
that's
got
not
a
the
record.
flattest. No, they just said it's flat as a pancake. They measured it, but it's not the flattest state. I was surprised what it was, but then you start thinking you shouldn't have known.
Florida?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's like,
I never.
I think they're only just a few feet above sea level. That's why, like down in Louisiana and the southern parts of Florida, you go to a cemetery, the graves are above ground. They don't bury them down into the ground because they hit water. They have to.
Right.
Yeah, that's why, like in Louisiana and those
Well,
parishes.
that's cool that you got that. You're the first person I asked that got that.
Oh yeah, I was thinking because I had seen a news thing where they had measured it flat in Kansas.
Yeah,
And
they
I
said
said, well, isn't that
they
interesting?
did measure it, but there you won't believe how many states are really flat.
Hmm.
Oh, here's one. Then I was looking at-
Listen, hold up. I flew down to Florida from here, and I'm not shitting you. When I got off the plane and I was standing outside, I felt vertigo because of that. Because I was like, how the fuck do these people know where they're at? That was my first thought, because I'm used to being able to see different mountain ranges and know right where the hell I'm at, right? In Florida, I'm like, these people are never know where they're at. How in the hell do they know? And I felt like I was going to fall over because it was so flat, you know? Pretty crazy, man. Anyway, what were you going to say?
Oh, I forgot. I liked your story. I got into your story better. I liked your story. Someone says in the chat, where's this conversation going? Anyone else live?
Yeah, right. Go on over there. I didn't. I kind of did most of my things this afternoon. We had an early show this afternoon, and that was so that we could accommodate somebody over in South Africa that wanted to talk to a flat earther, and so we had that. That was kind of interesting.
I heard you talking about at the beginning of the show that she just couldn't grasp. What was it you said she couldn't grasp?
Perspective.
Yeah,
she was like, could not understand. She was dead set that the sun has to be going around like this and not just going out of your sight. And I even tried to put it into the context of, have you ever seen an airliner go over you? She said, yes. And I said, and as it went away from you, did it look like it was getting lower in the sky? She said, yes. I said, was the plane actually getting lower in the sky? She said, no. And I said, so that would continue if you could still see it until it went into the horizon. And she goes, no, it would be because it goes over the horizon. I'm like, no, you're not getting it, man.
Did she get that the sun was close? Your model, the sun's really close. Did she understand that?
I don't think so, because she was still wondering.
Maybe.
Yeah, because she's still wondering why you wouldn't be able to still see it at night. And I think what it is, this whole thing has ruined people when they keep thinking this idea of a magnificently huge sun and a small earth. They don't really realize the magnitude, how big Earth really is, and that none of these other things are bigger than the Earth.
Right.
See, none of these we're the center of it all. Okay, these things go around us, and they're not bigger than us.
Not even close.
Right. And so you got to get that idea right there, because that's you keep that thing is so pervasive in the mind that it's hard for you to get it out. And there again, just like I said, when you learned your planets and that bullshit, in school, and you went and told your parents, what the planets were and how much oh boy, God, you're such a smart guy. Look at there, you're probably going to be a scientist or an astronaut one day, and boy, you got all kinds of reassurance from it. It was a very nurturing experience for you to learn that shit. And so you're going to hold on to that. Even if your subconscious is going to hold on to that as a nurturing experience. And so, of course, the kid's going to want to expand on that so that he gets more of the nurturing, or the kid that gets the praise for saying the Pledge of Allegiance. They put into his mind that, oh, what a patriotic young man. You could grow up and be president one day. Next thing you know, they're thinking about it. They're going to run for student council, and they're going to go for these different positions. See, so it's all fostered. It's all fostered. And they know the psychology. The deceivers know the psychology behind us, and they use it on us on a daily basis. Yes. And it's easy to do on little kids, man. It's real easy to do. So
one of the worst things about it is that it kind of takes away from the enjoyment of learning, because it's the motivation is always that test or that like compliance with the syllabus.
Yeah.
So it's it takes. I think that's a massive part of it, taking away the kind of the sort of like you say, the interest. So then later in life, people aren't questioning stuff. They're only caught up in the world that they've been led to live in through their reassurances.
Mm-hmm.
But it is a complex psychological game they play on society. It's literally, isn't it?
It's like like you said, we're everything we taught is a lie. It just is. Just is. I mean, they won't tell the truth even if they could, because they want to lie. It's just
they only taught you enough to allow you to have certain skills within the slave market. Okay. Of course, mathematics. They want you to be able to do mathematics. They not really too worried about you reading anymore, because we have things that will tell you stuff. You don't have to read. Okay. You can pull up a text message and have it say it to you, so you don't have to read it even. So we've gone to that level. So they only want you to know enough to keep you in the slave market. That's all. The rest of it is all conditioning. It's all conditioning. Every last bit of it is conditioning, conformity, breaking you into your groups. And let's think about it. We all went to high school, I'm pretty sure, at different times, everybody here, but you had your different groups. You had the nerds or the geeks, and you had the jocks, and you had the outcasts, and you had the burnouts, and you had the toughies. Okay. These little micro groups that form up. Okay. And those will follow through into society. Those that are, big into the student council and shit are often to go into local politics and be on the town council and shit like that. The ones that are always in the principal's office for stealing other kids' lunch money or spray painting the lockers, well, they spend a lot of time in the principal's office, but it's called the fucking jail. And then you've got the sports guys, they all go into their little boxes, little boxes on the hillside, all made of ticky-tacky, and you ever heard that song, Little Boxes?
No, I have not. Not that I recall.
It's an old Woody Guthrie folk song.
Okay.
And let me see. I'm going to pull up the lyrics to it. I might even. Well, I probably could. Well, I'll just pull up the lyrics and then you can look up the song. Little boxes
He was
lyrics.
really famous in the 50s and 60s.
Yeah. Okay, so it starts like it goes, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all made of ticky-tacky, little boxes on the hillside, little boxes all the same. There's a pink one and a green one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to university where they were put in boxes, and they came out all the same. And there's doctors and lawyers and business executives, and they're all made out of ticky tacky, and they all look just the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martinis dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to university where they're put in little boxes and come out all the same. All the boys go into business and marry and raise a family in boxes made of ticky tacky, and they all look just the same. And it just goes on and shows that it's a self-perpetuating
Yeah,
cycle.
that's what you said at the very beginning of your show. You said that. No, I can't remember. I lost my train of thought. But it's just what you said at the very beginning about we're just following the system, like you said, perpetual learning. Oh, waking up. See, when you said at the beginning how we woke up. Well, see, Arlo Guthrie's dad. What's his name? What you were talking about? Just saying that. What Guthrie was it?
Woody Guthrie.
Woody Guthrie, right. He was awake. See, people were awake then. It's just not enough of us all awake at once. You know,
Let's see.
Dave Weiss really thinks everybody's going to have this great awakening. I mean, bless his heart, but I don't think so.
I think it was written by Pete Seeger. Let me put this in no relation to Bob, I don't believe. Let me see if this is the song. A second. Oh, I get commercials of ducks because I'm using fucking VPN.
Right.
Crazy.
Daniel Becker put a real good thing in the chat that people talk about. He says he gets small time warp episodes where minutes go by like seconds. Sometimes it's real creepy.
Yeah, I've been experiencing some real weird anomalies with time recently.
If you pay attention, I'm gonna tell you something. I've never told anybody this, all right, because it's just too weird. But since Daniel put that in there, back in 2019, because of all our clocks now are basically computer run generated, so they can mess with time all they want. There's hardly any analog clocks. So on Amazon, I bought 12 analog clocks, charged batteries full, and everything. So I put them on my wall, all 12 clocks. And then I'm running the time off my computer clock or off my phone, checking the time. After 5 months, the clocks on the wall are all 10 minutes ahead, I think it was, right? Of what all the tumors. And so then this time warp thing, this is why I don't tell Daniel. He probably will believe this. No one else will. I'm sitting there. It's about 1 o'clock in the morning. I'm just checking it out, checking the things. I was obsessed with it. And all of a sudden, this wave came through, just like, and all the clocks synchronized. I said, "Fuck it, I give up," and I took them all down. But just within that, and I was standing up, and I ended up going back on my bed after that, like a wave came through, and all the clocks were the same then, the analog clocks and the computer clocks. So I mean, I know it's unbelievable unless it happens to you. I understand that. That's why I never told anyone.
I don't disbelieve you at all. I mean, really. Real quick, what is ticky tacky? Okay, I knew somebody was going to ask that, and Sav has the answer. Ticky tacky was a term used to refer to the rather cheap and composite materials that were used during the housing boom that came after World War II. And they were building these subdivisions everywhere, just like that. They built like they had one model house or two model of houses. They still do this today. And they would build them all the same, but one would be pink, another one would be blue, another one. And they were affordable housing that was because there was a huge housing boom. You've probably heard the term boomer more than you can count on a stick, but a lot of people don't realize what that means. all the actual real boomers are either dead or almost ready to die, because that refers to the explosion in population that the US witnessed upon the return of all the soldiers from World War II. Basically, you had thousands of horny young GIs that came home and commenced to making babies. And so there was what was known as a baby boom. So just so people know, when you call old people boomers, they're not boomers because they didn't come from that baby boom. But anyway, ticky tacky was the term used to describe the cheap materials used when they build huge housing projects. So now you know. The more you know. This is I think the original.
Oh, okay.
Little boxes on the hillside, little boxes made of ticky-tacky, little boxes, little boxes, little boxes, all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they're all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same. And the people in the houses all went to the university, and they all got put in boxes, little boxes, all the same. And there's doctors and there's lawyers and business executives, and they all get put in boxes, and they all come out the same. And they all play on the golf course and drink their martini dry, and they all have pretty children, and the children go to school, and the children go to summer camp, and then to the university, and they all get put in boxes, and they all come out the same. And the boys go into business and marry and raise a family, and they all get put in boxes, little boxes, all the same. There's a green one and a pink one and a blue one and a yellow one, and they all made out of ticky-tacky, and they all look just the same.
They make some great comments. One guy, Alan, in here says, "My box got opened early." They all like the song in the chat. You're on mute.
Yeah, it's public domain by this point in time. In fact, I went and got that one because that's one of the more original versions of it, but that has been covered by so many different artists over the years. And that's why I had to ask if anybody had ever heard it. I was kind of glad nobody had, because it's really kind of a cool song. All the versions, I've pretty much liked all the versions of it that I've heard, but I think the message behind it is pretty deep. You know?
I don't know if people would get it. They probably played it for children.
Yeah, but it's like, this is exactly what happens, you know? They all dress the same. They all stay in their little cliques. They all stay in their little roles, you know? All the world's a stage. These are my favorite lyrics is a line. A lot of them come out of Rush songs, right? But in the song Limelight, right? It says, all the world could be a stage, and we are merely players, performers and portrayers, each another's audience caught within the gilded cage. So we're all just part of a show performing for each other.
And the stage is flat, so they didn't say, you know, so many references.
Oh my God, yes. Have you ever heard the song "The Trees" by Rush? Yeah.
No.
Wow, is that ever a cool song, man? It's basically, the story in the song is that the maples and the oaks are having a fight. They're arguing. The maples are bitching because the oaks grow too tall and block out the light. And so the maples, they formed up into a union, man, and they started demanding equal rights. They said, this isn't fair, man. The oaks are getting too much light and we're not getting enough, man. And so it ended up, it said that they cast, it says, so there's no more old oppression, for they cast the noble law, and the trees are all kept equal by hatchet, axe, and saw. Which is exactly what happens, right? Everybody starts demanding equality, and then they come through and make everybody equally nothing. But everybody's got the idea that by equalizing them, that they're going to be lifted to a more lofty status. Not the case. They just drop everybody down to the lowest status. Now everybody's equal. Y'all have nothing and you like it. See, which is what they're going for with this WEF nonsense. You know, you'll own eat the bugs and all this other bullshit. That's exactly what they're going for right there. And people are all the time, look, how did they double the tax rate? They pointed out inequity. That's how. They said, look at you poor women. You're nothing but house cleaning, baby making slaves while your husband's off enjoying a career, which I'm sure he's just enjoying that fucking job every day, I'm sure, right? But anyway, They got it in their head that, look, it's because they don't think you can handle it, and misogyny and male chauvinism, blah, 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 blah. So you get these women riled up and they go, yeah, fuck you. We can do just like men. And we don't have to stay home and have a family. We can have our own careers. Well, what's that done? Okay, it's taken the home, the caretaker at home, the domestic half of the partnership in a family is gone now. Who's that leave? The state. The state gets to raise your child now because you don't have a fucking choice. Now you have to go to your job because now nobody can afford to live without having two incomes. A family can't afford usually to live without having two incomes. And so who did that benefit? The people collecting taxes. That's who it benefited. They didn't give a shit about their equality or any other goddamn thing.
It was always to break up the family. It was always to break up the family. That's what it was.
And it's multifaceted. So they increase their revenue, right?
Population control goes down.
You've got the children are now, nestled in comfortably with the government. Now we're seeing the rubber band whiplash going back because they've overplayed their hand. And now we're seeing more and more people going, fuck that. I'm homeschooling my kids. See, but it's still a trap, though, because you have to go by an approved curriculum. Like you have to ask permission to do it because they have to go to school by law. Now, something that's a good idea shouldn't need a law behind it. If something's a good idea, it shouldn't have a law behind it.
Yeah, it's called compulsory schooling. They passed it in 1912. Like I said, I was raised Mormon. My great-grandfather had 3 wives, right, and stuff like that. And then in 1901, the United States made it against the law. And but the thing is, you think about it. I sit there and tell these Mormons, because Mormons still believe that you should have more than one wife. But they say, oh, we respect the law of the land, right? So then I'd always ask them, and I haven't gotten to Mormon church for 45 years, but I'd always question them. I said, then if they lived in a Muslim country, if some Mormons lived in a Muslim country, could they have more than one wife? Because they're expecting the law of the land. You guys do condone that you have more than one wife. And I'm not against that. I'm just saying, what my point I'm getting to is, so this is to break up the family and have population control. So you don't have more than one wife. You got the population comes down. Plus, people can marry Ferris wheels now, but you can't have more than one wife. Explain that one.
It feels a bit like a psychological test too, to see how much interference governments can put on people. It is outside of their area of what they should be dealing with, which is just normal legislation. And this is like they want to go in and change, like tell you how to live your life and stuff, and it's only been getting worse. And like you say, like it's stuff with like how many wives you can have, like how a society can function and like amongst themselves. That's when it starts getting, they're just trying to pull everyone into their law system, man.
I mean, who
take
are they?
away from those individuals that are doing their own thing and it's working for them. So just, but they don't want that. They don't want people finding out that they can function on their own.
No, they want you. It's just like I said with the little little Billy and mom and dad scaring the piss out of him so that they'll have to come in there and need him. See,
Alan says, who would want more than one wife? I understand your point, Alan. I'm just saying they tell you you can't, which it's none of their business. That's what was saying.
It comes down to this. Okay, you have to understand what marriage is. Now, the first thing, what do you have to do? You have to go down to the courthouse and you have to get what?
A license.
A license. And what is a license? That's where they took a right away from you and then they sell it back to you through a license. Okay, so you have to get their permission to do this first and foremost. Now, the reason being is because they're not looking at it as this man loves this woman and vice versa, and they wish to join in a union. No. They see the corporation of this corporation and this corporation are merging together. Okay, so Walmart and Sears are merging together. So we have to make sure that this is a legitimate corporate merger. This is why you have to go back to court. This is why you have to go to court in order to dissolve that partnership, at which point all company assets are divided in whatever manner prescribed between the two corporate interests, in this case, the husband and the wife. So it's all about commercial shit. It has nothing to do with morality or anything else like that in the eyes of the court.
And it's like pulling power away from the family, because like if you have a large family and you all support each other, that's a very powerful thing, and that's probably why a lot of these sort of, like you say, people with large, they can function in these societies because they just all support each other. But the government, like, they want to kind of, that's what I'm saying, that's a threat, that if you've got one individual on your own fending in society that they can control, then that's perfect, Yeah,
exactly.
Because then the government becomes the father figure with the money to say, here's a house, here's whatever, as long as you play ball, or whatever, keep voting, just toe the line. I don't know. I don't know what it's like in America, but it's pretty not great in the UK, I can tell you.
Same song, different musician.
Yeah.
Same song, different musician, slight variances on the same fucking shit. The one thing I do see, like in a lot of places in Europe and in Canada, and this is something that's very dangerous, okay? Truth is going to be truth regardless, okay? Truth is truth in a minority of one. So if you have to pass laws in order to keep people from talking about something like, certain events that may or may not have happened in Europe between 1936 and 1945.
No, I know.
So if that was real and everything is copacetic, then truth does not fear investigation. Never does.
It makes me so sad because I know the other side of the coin, what we did to the Dresden and all those places, and just went and just it makes me so sad. It just does. It is such a terrible what people can do. We did to them.
You take a look at that.
I'm not talking about the events,
right?
I'm talking about the other part.
Right. So what I'm saying is it far stretch, as we've seen the various parliamentary people here in the United States, especially, who have talked to the heads of Google and shit and said, this could become a dangerous political issue, flat earth. All right. Well, how could that become a dangerous political issue? First off. Secondly, it's always been a dangerous political issue because we just looked at where it came from. right? What was the
Right.
Jesuit purpose? It was all about the power of the church. Boom, right there. And so, what's to stop them from passing laws making it illegal? I mean, they've already tested the water with that by censoring it on social platforms and whatnot, shadow banning it. The next step would be to outlaw speech on it. And is it a stretch to see that they could indeed do such a thing in order to protect a lie? Because, as I've said, truth does not fear scrutiny, right?
Now, what did you say that earlier? You said truth. Truth is treason. I love that. God, that was so beautiful. I know I've heard it before, but when you say it, it reminds me. It's just so awesome.
Well, I heard Brian Young say that before too,
Oh,
and I read it somewhere in a book as well. So I by no means claim the quote, but I like it, that truth is treason in the empire of lies. Absolutely.
yeah, it was.
Because it absolutely is. See,
Yeah.
what's this fucking guy doing over here? I thought I got rid of you.
Someone giving you a hard time in there.
No, it's Sean Hawkins. He's not allowed to be here anymore because he's an asswipe.
Where's he at? Is he calling you?
No, he was in my chat, so I
Oh,
just banned him.
Which one?
Thought I already did it. I'm not sure where he was at. He was on one of the channels, probably over on the backup, but it
Yeah,
doesn't
he's not on
matter.
this one.
So I blocked him off of both of them then because I did it through StreamYard, so it doesn't matter. He won't be on either one.
Yeah, you had 11 people on your backup channel.
Let me see. Yeah, I'm not even over on that one. I can be though. Let me go to here and there it is. Pretty sure.
Yeah, I can't stand that guy.
Yeah, that's where he was at. Fuck him. I don't have time to put up with his dumb nonsense, man. He's a creep.
So Anson, do you own or rent there in Wales?
I've got renting.
Yeah, because I lived there. I lived in England for 5 years, from 84 to 89, and I seen it. I said, because it hits Europe first, then it comes to America later. Now it's killing us here. Young people cannot buy a house anymore. They just can't.
Not without a mortgage.
Well, no, I mean, not even mortgage. I mean, it's like California. Well, I'm using the worst example. That's where all my family lives, in California.
Yeah.
And you're on the East Coast, right? So, yeah, so it's the same thing. They can't. The cheapest house, house built in 1953, which isn't old to you guys. I know how you guys talk, but if they want $1,400,000 for it, it's a 1,300 square foot home.
Yeah, California is outrageous with everything, man. It really is. I had a house out there and here. I had this house here and one out there. And I was renting this house out while I was out there. I had a really nice marijuana farm going. And the cost of living out there is like 1.5 times what it is here, at least.
Jeez.
And that's when you can find an area where stuff's a little cheaper than most. But man, I couldn't believe gas prices out there. Tax on every fucking thing. And everything causes cancer, but you have to look at it too. It's like one of the most socialist states that there are. There's more people on the government dole in California per capita than there is just about anywhere else in the United States. So they're very, very dependent on the government. They might hate Sacramento, but without it, a lot of those people would die. I mean, it's to this point, and this is how they treat people, like chattel. Okay, so I used to have to go to a town that was right near China Lake Naval Air Weapons Station called Ridgecrest. Okay. And that's where I got my groceries. It took me about an hour or so to get there. And so I'd go all the way there and I'd get like a month's worth of groceries and shit. And I forgot what I was going to even say about it.
About the prices.
Yeah. Okay. So Yeah, I mean, it was like the prices were just through the fucking roof, you know, and stuff, and then it got worse the further you got away from any kind of civilization. You know, I mean, it was costly in gas, and okay, so they had like over in Kern County, which is right next to
Bakersfield. Yeah, I know.
right where Bakersfield's at. And then, of course, there's a place, Ridgecrest, right? So
I know that.
Bakersfield had too many welfare people compared to Ridgecrest. So they literally relocated a bunch of welfare people from Bakersfield
Over the
made them
mountain,
move to
Ridgecrest.
Yeah. I'm like, I'd never heard of such a thing, man. But like a whole migration of like a certain chunk of the welfare population, and then moved them over into Ridgecrest.
Yeah.
I was like, wow, man. So they're like, okay, report to FEMA Camp X-ray. You know, it's like, what? But all my shit's here. It doesn't matter. You gotta go. Your number's up. You're going over to the other new death camp or whatever. You know.
This Lisa Marie says that's why she lives in Virginia. She says her cottage is not big, but it's only $650 a month.
Yeah.
Well, that's
I
why
gotta say it's not too bad here. I mean, it's getting a lot worse than it was. I mean, it's getting bad compared to what it was, but everything is. You know, we're seeing the collapse.
I live in a little desert town in Nevada. My rent for 2-bedroom is it's only 1,000 square feet, but it's $950 a month. So that's why I'm here.
Yeah, I'd say it's about the same here for that.
Yeah.
About $900 a month, the equivalent for a little house or a little flat here.
Right. Just to exist.
Yeah.
And did you say you had children, Anson?
I don't know.
Oh, okay. Is yours a 1-bedroom or 2-bedroom flat?
This is well, it's just this, a little kitchen and the bathroom. So it's just one room, in fact.
Oh, 1 room. Okay.
Well, one room just to live in, and then the kitchen and bathroom.
Right.
Yeah.
That's all New York City area. That's all the little places.
So it's like vibe. It's just like it's quite an old building, but they make little flatlets out of it, you know. And they put you in the flatlets. So.
Can you hear your neighbors?
No, I'm lucky actually. It's nice and quiet, and I've got a view of the sea and stuff, so it's pretty cool.
You got a view of the ocean, huh?
Yeah, man. Yeah. So saying
You're way on the west side of Wales.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll see it halfway up. It's just a little town called Aberystwyth. It's a funny word. They're all like weird spellings in Wales.
Yeah, I didn't run
Cardiff and Swansea.
Where did Sovereign go? What happened to him?
I don't know. So phased out.
He says you can get 1-bedroom apartment here in Vancouver for under $1,000 per month. Is that Canadian dollars? Under 1,000 Canadian? That'd be a little bit cheaper. So what else does it say in the chat? It says I bought a townhouse in 1991 for 40 grand. This is Alan saying this. It's worth 450 now.
Well, my internet just pooched out and then came back on for some reason. I don't know why.
Back like a tick.
Yeah. These little unexplained bullshit things that happen from time to time. Yeah, I say Jake got me. If something like that happens, I'll come on into the chat and say I'll be right back. Usually it's some kind of glitch or some shit like that. But I think I'm done pretty much.
Sean alike, Alf, whatever it is, says, no, your place would be over 2,500 per month here, wherever he's at. Oh, in Canada. Yeah.
BC.
Yeah, he says he can get a little flat there for it says some for 1,000 or something. He said.
Jesus.
Is Sean from Canada?
Yeah, that's where Sean's at. He's up in Canada, BC, I believe.
Well, oh, BC, Vancouver. I know. I got a good friend that lives in Surrey, and yeah, Vancouver is the most expensive thing on the whole West Coast, man. It's crazy there. You can't. It's I don't know how people are living there. I'm
Yeah,
serious.
I was scrolling through Facebook today, and I get these pictures, like nostalgia and shit like that from back where I'm from in Detroit. And I was rolling through there, and I saw this sign that was on this burger joint. And one of the things they had on there was you could get 5 cheeseburgers for $1. 5 cheeseburgers for $1. And I'm not talking about little White Castles. I'm talking about big fucking things. They were 25 cents a piece, or you could get 5 for $1. And these were regular size hamburgers and shit. And then I go like 2 things past that scrolling, and I look, and there's an ad for this restaurant. Try our quarter pounder burger, only $5.99. And I'm like, motherfucker, man. We went from a quarter up to $5.99, and it's probably not nearly as good either,
The Big Mac, and when I was in England in '86, the Big Mac, I couldn't afford to buy those things. They call them the Royal, I think Royal
Yeah.
Burger, Royal something there.
The
And
quarter pounder. Yeah. When I was in Germany, that's what it was. The hamburger royal.
was it? I think in
Yeah.
England, the Big Mac's. What is it over, Anson? What's it called in your area?
I think they've always kept the same names. It's just the quality and the size and everything. It's just like over the years, it's gone down so much that you would never recognize that King one that you're talking about from back in the day. It used to be a mass. Now it would be some horrible like little thing, But I think they keep the same names.
Yeah, they charged $7 American for that back then.
It's ridiculous.
And that was in '86.
I was in Frankfurt in 1984, and they had a McDonald's in downtown Frankfurt, and chicken McNuggets had just arrived for the German McDonald's, and they were in little UFO Happy Meals. And it was something else, because I remember going in there, and there's people, all these adults sitting there with chicken McNugget Happy Meals, just happier and shit, eating these things with the little UFO. And I was like, do these people even know that's for kids?
Or a little dinosaur, maybe.
Yeah, a little toy.
It's amazing marketing can do, isn't it?
Oh my God. Yeah. That was crazy too, is you'd see like a McDonald's. Here's this old it was an old Burgermeister's station, it was this round building with kind of a Moorish type looking roof on it that sat at this one corner, and it was called a Burger Queen. Somebody had turned this thing into a burger joint, and I was like, what the fuck, man? And it was like, here's this old medieval building that somebody's turned into a fast food thing, carry out. The whole thing was carry out. Yeah, Western civilization sucks. It does.
How big is your town, Anson? How big is your town, Anson?
It's not massive. I don't know how many thousands of people. I'd say it's a sort of medium-sized, what you call medium-sized town.
Enough to have fast food and stuff there?
Oh, yeah. It's got McDonald's, KFC, loads of coffee shops, Costa, Starbucks, all of it.
Yeah.
You guys want to see something really? You guys want to see something really cool?
What's that?
All right, let me see if you can see this here. Let me pull myself up.
That's a good spot right there. That's a good spot right there.
Okay.
There you go. Hand boiler.
Yep. So I picked this up at Hobby Lobby in Harrisonburg, and this is really a cool demonstration to use. You can get these in different colors. It was like $3, $4 I paid for this, which isn't shit, right? And what it is, if you look, it's these glass ball, another glass ball up here, and it's connected with a glass tube that goes down into this fluid. There's this purple fluid here. I'm going to pull myself up full screen. Now, Watch what happens when I put my hand on the bottom. Look at that. See that liquid rise up, rise
Yeah.
up, rise up. So what's going on there? This is
Heat.
right. The heat from my hand, this glass is really thin, right?
Uh-huh.
So the heat from my hand warms the air inside this bottom bulb. And of course, that air expands. Well, that liquid has to yield to that gas pressure because that tube's beneath the water, beneath the liquid. So it yields to it. And the only way it can yield to it is to go up through the straw, up into the top. Now, this is still warm and it's cooling off, right? So it's going to take a little bit for it to get down there, but I can speed it up just by grabbing it up there and it pushes it all down. And there's your exchange. There's your equalization. That's what I'm talking about. Everything wants to be equal. Everything is seeking equalization. And so here we go.
This was a gift, right?
No, I saw this on the shelf and I bought it.
I'm teasing you. I'm teasing you.
I'm like, this is cool. I'm like, this
And
is really a
you
neat
bought
little
this?
demonstration, you know?
Yeah. No, it's cool. I like it.
So I just thought that was kind of a cool thing to show, you know,
That
that
glass
there's
must be thin.
entropy. You know, there it is. It's
Yeah.
a game. You can't even quit that game because it's always taking place.
Like I said, that's what I said with you before when I called in. These debates are useless. There's nothing to debate anymore. The debate is over.
It is, but this is, you got to look at, this is where I'm at with these things. Okay. I'm not trying to change that person. Now, today's guest was a little different because I really don't think they understood what flat earth is. And I think I gave them a few things to think about. But they have to start understanding perspective. Okay. So, and they said they didn't really want to debate. They just wanted to have a discussion, you know? So I don't know what asshole was talking about earlier when he said, "Oh, I saw your debate, blah, blah, blah." It wasn't a debate, man. It was a discussion. Right. But it's more for the people that are curious and want to know something about it. Okay. And they can hear both sides as well as see the psychology involved with it too, because I swear to God, every time one of these guys loses their shit and acts like a fool, another flat earther's born. I mean, for real, that's what happens because they're going, holy shit, why are these people so angry about it? And as I've said before, truth stands alone. Truth is truth in a minority of one. So where's the anger come from? If it was so apparent and so obvious that this thing where we live is a ball, it's a globe, and it's doing all this shit, spinning and orbiting and whirling and all this other dumb shit, why would you have to defend it? I mean, somebody come along and say, no, it's not doing that. And you're going, well, it quite obviously is. Shut up and go your way.
Well, I like
to have to
the regular guys who debate, the regular guys that are debating, making the circuit. So it'd be nice if someone like you, when you're debating someone like a Sean or something, in the middle of your debate, you say, well, Sean, I'm not really talking to you. I'm hoping someone in your audience, which is listening, I'm affecting them because I know what you are. I know you're not in. I'm just talking to somebody, hopefully, that's in your audience that will get it. So that would be helpful.
Mm-hmm.
Because those guys aren't going to change no matter what, McToon and all those.
No.
It's just a game to them.
No, that's a given because they've already come in with their mind made up.
No one's ever learned. That lady today actually, like from what you said, I can't wait to go watch it. She actually like she wanted to learn, huh?
Kinda, but she was really, you could tell that there was cog disc going on when I was trying to explain that no, it's not going over the horizon. It's going into the horizon due to your perspective. And I even showed a sun fade out video. And I said, see, look what's happening. We bring it right back. It's back. But look, it doesn't actually go. It goes out of your sight because of the soup that you're viewing it through. I mean, here we are at ground level, anywhere between here and 5,000, 6,000 feet around in the area. You got to figure maybe even up as high as 10,000 feet. We're in the soupiest, densest, cloudiest, most moisture-filled area of the whole stratus, right? Because this is where those gases are produced. So it's not much different than trying to look to the other side of a murky pond from underneath the water. You're only going to get that clear line of sight when you're out of that soup, and you
It must
get
have
that through
frustrated you.
altitude.
You couldn't get her to grasp that. You're trying
Yeah.
humbly and hard and as simple as possible, and she just. I'm guarantee you, when she saw that fade, what you're talking just by listening to you, when you saw the sun fade out, I guarantee you she didn't see it fade out. She saw it go under because her mind's so convinced.
Yeah.
And you
Yeah.
tried your. I can tell you tried your hardest. But the chat kept going on about fast food. All of them were talking about there's people haven't eaten fast food for 10 years and all like that. And Angela Carson said she does most of all hers. And Daniel says he hasn't eaten fast food for, I think, 10 years. They really, that would got to be a hot topic in there.
It was. I saw even some reference to the Soylent Green. Somebody said something about human DNA being found in there, and I'm like,
Lisa Marie says human DNA in fast food. And someone said, as I drive past McDonald's, I'm wondering if they know they're eating their own kind.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, there's this guy, supposedly this Rabbi Finkelstein character that was out, and according to him, there's a video of him saying that they laugh because all the goy are in there with their breakfast sandwiches eating their own children. And I'm like, that's messed up, man. That's messed up. That is just way messed up. That's enough to keep me out of the fucking Golden Arches. I'll tell you that much, Besides, I don't think there's anything under the Golden Arches that belong in the human body. Did you find it odd when she said she needed to go to bed after she told you her dinner was waiting? Yeah, she was looking for a way to get out because I had broken the third wall, so to speak. I could tell because just the way that she just jumped in, you could tell that it was like, oh my God, but no, she says. Like that.
I think seeing that model where you actually see the dish Earth and the sun and moon going around it, I think that really helps get a grip, especially like you were saying with the visual perspective. That helped me massively, like understand how it what's going on. Mm-hmm. And that's how they get us as well. They know from our vantage point here, like as little humans, it's hard for us to really understand that, like what happens with the sun and moon, when we can't see them. Because like you say, the perspective and stuff, you need that bird's eye view to really understand the bigger picture sort of thing.
Right. This is why, look, it's all well and good to know how to do Euclidean orthographic geometry, but you can't use it to describe perspective. And that's what they do. See, the sun would never set. And it's like, no, you're looking at that from a third person orthographic two-dimensional perspective. We don't see like that. Yes, in reality, the ground and that path are parallel, but due to our perspective, they appear to converge. Everything is a convergence.
Yeah, well, we used to do CDT, a subject called CDT in school up to like the age of 14, and they're actually teaching us like perspective and how to do technical drawing, and then they scrapped it. They scrapped the subject. We were doing soldering and stuff, and then like all across the board, they were like, no more home economics, no more CDT.
Oh wow!
What's
See, I was
CDT?
just about to say, a good art class will teach you perspective. But the right hemisphere things are the first things to get cut for the budget. Art, music, any of that kind of shit.
Always. I never thought about that.
And then this technical drawing shows you visually, like exactly how it works. And that's what you need, that visual thing of doing it yourself to understand things, like perspective. Before they put those assumptions in your mind of what you're seeing relates to something else. If we went outside of that, like with their understanding of like the mathematical nature of the universe, you wouldn't be falling for the globe trick.
Right.
Yeah.
We're not taught that. They got rid of that. They got rid of that from the syllabus and just started teaching straight mathematics.
How I start to some of my conversations sometimes with people, I say, you know, in childhood, we're taught how to walk, we're taught what to eat, we're taught how to speak, we're taught all these things, but we're not taught how to see. They don't teach us how to see. Remember Rory Cooper? You remember
Who?
Rory Cooper, flat earther
Yeah.
Rory Cooper from South Africa?
Yeah.
He's the one that taught me to see my perspective. I watched hours and hours and hours there. He was an art guy and stuff like that from South Africa, Anson, and he is amazing teaching you how to see.
I wanted to address Daniel Becker says Soylent Green is pretty good given that it was made in 1970. If you've seen the movie, you'll know that they're having drought and it's extremely hot. They don't have food because of solar radiation, and it takes place now. The setting for it, I believe, is 2023 or 2024 in the movie. And so that's where we're at with it, you know, and I'm like, wow. And what are they pushing? Climate change, global warming, food shortages, blah, 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 blah. It was almost like, okay, another predictive programming. You know, you have to wonder where, you know, it would be a solution to I mean, think about this. There's a lot of people die every day all around the world. There's always people dying. Every day you pick up the newspaper and there's this thing called the obituaries. Each city, each locality has this, and there's people dead all the time. Funeral parlors are all the time business, right? How come you never see new graveyards opening up any?
Well, I have. I'm sorry, they just add on.
How come you never see them? I've only seen them do that in one graveyard or maybe two in my whole life, right? And I have to wonder, where are all the bodies really going? I mean, with the amount of people, think about this, Herman, with the amount of people that die worldwide every day, that should be even a real estate market, you know, where you could say, hey, here's a big plot of land perfect for a cemetery, and you could make money plotting that out as a cemetery, right?
Right.
But you don't see that. You never see like a cemetery with one grave in it and it's recent and, you know, it's getting ready to, yeah, that's my Uncle Charlie. He was the first person buried in this cemetery, you know, and then they fill it up. It's almost like, wait a minute, what are they doing really with all the bodies?
Hanford, California, I watched them build the new one there because they had to actually dug up the old one and had to, whoa.
You're right, Kevin. Kevin says even if two people have seen new ones, the amount should be opening, and they should be having them opening up all the time, man. That's what I'm saying. It'd be like, you know, grand opening, you know, Whispering Pines fucking cemetery or whatever.
I never thought of it. The amount of people die every day, there's no way you could keep the land space of building cemetery.
No.
So I know where they're at. They're in the catacombs of France.
And the thing is, man,
or they're in the meat case of your supermarket and you just think it's pork chops, man.
I thought that steak tasted pretty good the other day.
You know, I mean, they do say
human meat
tastes a lot like pork.
You don't know.
It's sad because we've lost trust in all these different institutions, and you know, it's like even like you say with the funeral people. You don't even know which ones now are like authentic, or how are they going to respect your dead relative's body? Have they got it? Are they like in cahoots with whoever else? You know, there's all these questions.
Right.
It's like, do I really want to pay to get this person cremated? Do I even know what's going down? Like, you know, they've definitely infiltrated the health system, like corruption. So, you know.
Well, there, like you said, with these institutions that we trust, for instance, we have the Food and Drug Administration here in the United States, right? And everybody knows that they're corrupt. Everything that's ever been banned by the FDA was first approved by the FDA. The FDA has all kinds of approved products in the United States for people to consume, that are banned and considered poisons in places like where Anson lives at, or in Ireland. You know, I thought it was funny. I was talking to an Irish guy about Lucky Charms cereal, and he told me, he says, they won't allow that over into Ireland, man. No.
Yeah.
And I was like, I don't blame them. It's poison. It
Yeah,
really
like-
is.
Yeah. All right. Well, Sovereign, thank you for letting me come on tonight. I appreciate it.
Right.
And we'll catch you another time.
Right on. I was just getting ready to call it a night and sign off here. I already had a couple hours this afternoon here, and of course I got up a little early so I could be ready for that one. And so I'm kind of off my regular schedule here. It's kind of got me freaked out. But thanks for coming on, Harmon. We'll see you
All
next
right.
time.
Anson, see you good. And goodbye to the chat, Daniel and Jehovah's Daughter and stuff like that. Nice talking with you guys tonight.
Yeah, it was good. A lot of people showed up tonight. This is really good. 116 it's showing. I just saw 117 a minute ago. That's pretty good. We're growing good, and it's organic. That's what I love about it. And you people are and the Owen poll. Thank you for reminding me. Let me go back and we're going to check the Owen poll. Where is my poll? Where did it go? Oh, I'm on the wrong page. Hang on. The poll, 78% say that Owen is not cool. Okay. That's not very good. So Owen Benjamin, I probably spelled his name wrong, but oh well. 22% do think he's cool. We probably had Rasta come over and vote a couple times on that one, I'm sure. You know, we'll see. But anyway, we'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul. We'll see if we can't get up on here tomorrow. Give you all plenty of notice for that. I'm going to start setting them up a little earlier. We'll see what's going on. Maybe there'll be something for us to cover. Maybe we'll have a Glober to come on or some other interesting thing to talk about. But we always talk about those things that open our minds here at Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind, because we don't have chained up minds, man. We're free thinkers. We don't fit the paradigm. So I love y'all. We'll see y'all next time on Sovereign Soul. Don't forget, Lord loves a working man. Don't trust Whitey. See your doctor and fire him, because he'll probably kill you. So y'all have a good evening. We'll see you next time on Sovereign Soul Unchained Mind. Good night.